Esmond. You are somewhere in the sky. There are lights smeared, streaking toward a tower that stretches forever into a broken and fractured sky. Far beneath you is the world. Above you, everything. So many splintered echoes of so many skies. And somewhere far away is your friend, is Esmond. You know he'll save you. You wake up in the workshop. Piece of paper stuck to your cheek. Sleep at your desk. What time is it? It's still dark out.
Is it any particular sheet of paper, or is it just scratch?
Just a portion of the notes and plans and things you were going through, and all the many things you were double checking. Judging by the candle inside of the room, it's burned down. It must be after midnight now, but the sun hasn't come up yet.
Quick scan of the room. Any sign of Zephyrus?
You look around. There's the ball of burned reagents. Nothing there.
Scanning over my spell book, find the page that I had the notes for Find Familiar on. It still can't be read.
Yeah, focus on the notes and the spell formula. The idea is the way the reagents, the components combine together and their interactions with the plane, and you were the one who wrote it. You could understand this just yesterday, but you can't quite get your head around it. It's not that complicated. You should be able to understand this.
I slam the book shut. I grab my poncho and scarf, and I just head out to the center of town. Esmond's gonna head to the mural, the sculpture that was erected not too long ago.
Okay. Yeah, you push out through the door. There's a light snow coming down. It's cold, but you were prepared for that. And so this late of night, after midnight, has been making his way toward the town square. Are any of the characters out there? Or in the streets?
It's bad weather, right? Peaches in the Wanderlust.
There's light snow. Yeah, Esmond, you pass through the streets. A lot of people are asleep, certainly at this hour. You see some candles or lanterns in the buildings you pass through the streets of Shepherd's End. It's so quiet now. So much more than it used to be. So many empty houses. Some of them still haven't been repaired from the fires. You see the glints of starlight on some of the glass in the sculpture near the center of town.
Esmond is just going to throw his hands into his pockets and just stare up at the monument for a little bit of time.
Describe to us in detail what it looks like.
Describe in detail what?
What it looks like, the monument.
It is a cylindrical stone monument, roughly. I'm trying to recall the exact measurements. Don't matter, I guess. 2 to 3 feet wide and standing at about 7 feet tall. It's designed so that at noon and midnight on a clear sky, the sun and the moon are supposed to reflect the light directly into the center of the monument, and internal mirrors bounce that light throughout the monument, and that light reflects through a series of different colored glass panes that travel along all the way down the monument that reflect light across the town, so that for roughly 1 minute twice a day, the center of town is lit up in a cornucopia of differently shaped lights.
When did you finish this?
Just before or just after the 6-month time skip.
Okay. As you stand out there in the street, beneath the light snow coming down, just flecks of white sticking on the ground. It's not a heavy snow, but just enough to paint the tops of all the green buildings with the dusting powder. As you watch the sculpture, judging by the time, judging by the candle, it's got to be almost 2 in the morning by now. As you sit there for a few moments, there is a gleam that catches your eye. You see the stars, fragments of the shattered moon aligning. Light spills briefly through the monument. That doesn't make sense. That should have happened hours ago.
Can I track where the light is coming from, or is it just scattered starlight that you're describing?
Yeah, it's just like you designed it. Alignment of the stars, the fragments of the shattered moon in the right place. Something's wrong.
I've never described Esmond as having a pocket watch, but I also don't know if that's something that's an available tool.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, so much of your technology is clockwork based.
I'll pull out a small rudimentary pocket watch, just double check the time.
Yeah, you look at it, matches up with your candle. It's a little after 2 in the morning. Roll an investigation check.
$14.
Yeah, you're not sure. You've checked this before? You've been out here before at night and during the day, and it was not lately, but you've seen this work before. Your design wasn't wrong. Your watch and the candle couldn't both be wrong.
Can I try to climb up to the monument and see if I can see the top of it, where the light enters into it?
Yeah, I don't think that would be too hard. It's a little cold, your fingers are stiff, but you're able to. No one's around to watch, everyone's asleep. You manage to climb up the structure and you get up to the top, and there's a bit of snow gathered on the top, but it looks fine. And then, the alignment passes as you would expect it would, and the glow fades from the monument. There's nothing. It doesn't look like there's anything wrong with the monument, but the timing's off. Something's.
I can't recall if this is character knowledge or out of character. Has it been noted or recorded recently that the sun has been rising later?
Yeah. It's character knowledge, but you built this after you guys noticed all of that. The sun rises much earlier and sets much later in the day. The sun also doesn't follow the same path that it used to. And all the time you grew up in Shepherd's End, the sun stays in the north and it just circles in the north. It sets and it rises, but it doesn't travel all the way from east to west anymore. But you had accounted for that. That was in your calculations.
Okay. Quick. I'm gonna cast Detect Magic at first level.
What's it look like when you do that?
Because I feel like I'm missing something. Esmond is just going to pull out a vial from his satchel that he brought with him, shake it up a little bit, and pour it into another vial that already has components mixed into it. He shakes that for exactly 3 seconds and pours the contents onto a rag that he smears onto the lenses of his glasses. And he places those and uses that to detect and see magic in the area.
There are smears of strange hues in your vision now, like the angle is glinting on oil on your glasses, but there's nothing. You see a little bit of the enchantment of some of the things that you'd set up in creating the monument itself, but that's not supposed to be there, and that's all in the right spot. There's nothing out of the ordinary here.
If the sun has been, it's either the sun has been shifted or the planet has been shifted. Is it? I mean, it's just as possible then that the Octurne and the stars would be as well, right? Unless the constellations haven't been moving along a similar path.
Well, just as an out of character reminder, the Octurne broke apart and the tower fell out of it, so there is no more Octurne. But there are fragments of the shattered moon that circle just like a moon would, right? And the stars and the sun, and so you have this idea glancing upward. I mean, you'll have to do some calculations, but maybe you're right. Maybe something's still changing.
Esmond's gonna hop down from the monument and just go back to where he was before and just continue to stare at it, and his eyes cutting back up to the shattered octane and the constellations that had passed overhead. I very much would like to just give up. But you're still out there, I think. I hope you have to be. I want to dedicate every ounce of my time and energy to finding you again. And I will when I can, but right now something's wrong. I just wish that you were still here with me to help me figure it out.
As you say that, maybe there's a moment where you glance down at your hand. You can see there's the slightest aura, almost imperceptible, but you're so used to studying this in particular. You can see this faintest afterimage when your hand moves. And you've seen this before. This is what it looks like to yourself when you have Find Familiar cast.
An after image of my hand, like, so if I drag my hand one way, there's almost a shade that follows it.
Yeah, very subtle. Very, very subtle. And it's the thing you normally wouldn't detect, like, on another person. But you've studied this in the casting of your own spell, so you can see it on yourself.
I still have Detect Magic up. Is that...
That's how you're seeing it. And I think you roll an Arcana check. With advantage for this. Yeah, 21. Yeah, and it clicks pretty easily. You realize this is the same thing that happened when you were doing your original experiments. When you were in the workshop and you cast the spell, it seemed like the spell failed, but you have it cast. And the spell succeeded.
Can I focus in on the after image and, like, can I trace it to to a source? Is that the word I'm looking for?
No, the source is you.
Okay, let's get weird. I am going to hold my hand to my chest, I guess, and attempt to focus my magical energies from my chest into the palm of my hand.
What are you trying to accomplish with that?
I am trying to pull the residual energy of the Find Familiar spell off of my person and I'm basically trying to focus that residual energy into a singular source in the palm of my hand.
Okay. So you begin to focus. I'll talk about your methodology here, because you're not exactly an intuitive spellcaster. For you, it's all about the logic and the science. How do you want to try to do this?
So it's actually incredibly contradictory with how it works in Esmond's mind currently. It's while artifice is very exact and his engineering prowess has been pushed, set into his mind for years now. He's always had an interest in magic and arcana, but understood that with that kind of with that magic had to come an understanding of creativity to manipulate the magical forces in the air. And so when he casts spells, he is forcing himself to try and not to think of magic in a mechanical sense, but as something that flows, that cannot be controlled, but could potentially be manipulated for particular results. But up until now, that has not worked. So instead, he's going to take his knowledge of engineering and attempt to manipulate the magical energy. And similar to how he taught himself to use Shocking Grasp, he is going to take a very methodical maneuver and count his breaths and attempt to find a similar focus as when he casts Shocking Grasp, but instead harness this residual energy that is currently enveloping him to hold it out, to pull it away from him so that he can observe it.
Okay. Make an advantage charisma ability check. Yeah, you try in the way that you channel something when you use the lightning that's in your body, but it's almost as though you can't get a grasp on it. It's like trying to push water on a wet floor. Some of it moves, but not enough, and after a while you feel somehow the effort gets exhausted, and you started to feel it moving towards your arm, but you can't maintain it, and then you lose your grip on it.
This is... I don't know if this is progress. What is it that's holding you back? That's preventing me from pulling you back. That won't allow me to read my own spell anymore. Okay, fine. If this is some kind of sign from you to not give up, okay, I guess. I'll figure this out. Going to head back home. Head back to the workshop.
The morning's come. You all have made tentative plans for whoever wants to meet at the Wanderlust around breakfast time. Give me a little bit of a vignette of each of your characters getting ready in the morning.
The table at home is set with a meager meal. Beth has hurriedly eaten her portion. She waves goodbye to her siblings and says, "I'm off to meet my friends. Don't burn the house down." She skips through the streets, jumping from stone to stone and climbing on walls and jumping over roofs occasionally for fun. And then she arrives at the door of the Wanderlust and opens the door and says, "There's food, right? I'm starving." She looks around for the table.
Who's
Her friends.
Who's the first person that Kabath sees?
Araya is always up early. So if Kabath is an early bird, she's earlier. And she's also helping with food and prep and cleaning. Anything else that's possible, she feels guilty. Like, this downtime outside of the temple is ridiculous.
If Araya is an early bird, then Ava is such an early bird. She's almost a night owl. I'm just kidding.
Dude, you're an owl cannon. You are not.
Canon owl, yeah.
I love the idea of Peach coming downstairs the Wanderlust to her friends already there. Y'all know this, like, I live here, right? This is, y'all are staying, that we're not open till I'm awake and I open the place up.
It's an inn.
Yeah, in that you're not allowed in unless I say so.
I have a gift card.
Yeah, you're fine, Araya. I'm giving I mean, you know, you as a guest do not have to be up here cooking and all, but I ain't complaining about you.
I thought there'd be an exception for friends. Honestly.
Idle hands.
Kibeth, you were not here cooking, you were here eating.
I can help. I can also cook and eat at the same. I can do it at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Let's maybe get that goat butt cleaning up some of the floor around here. Let's get you a mop and a broom.
I dislike this service. I want to speak to the manager.
Oh, that's me, honey.
No, she's yeah, Ava has been making a few notes to herself, probably helping out. She'd already eaten by the time she showed up, so she's basically just there doing small notes somewhere and maybe picking at whatever is being presented.
Peach is making hucking big pot, and soon the smell is filling the Wanderlust, and you get like the kind of the frying of whatever Araya is putting together, and then now the smell of the like rich, you know, cocoa coffee scent sort of filling the room and sort of giving the waking up vibes finally, although the sun is still low in the sky.
Peach, your Hakeem is always great.
I know, it's almost like I do it professionally. Thanks, Ava.
Do you know when the others are going to get here? She just looks around, asking openly to the other.
I mean, Shalati might be upstairs. I know she was moving some of her kin and all to the temple, but I don't think they've moved house quite yet. So she might be around.
Wait, oh, have we already started that?
I don't know. You said that I didn't assume that they had been, so I said you were probably here. I didn't assume that had happened yet, and Shalati was staying at the Wanderlust, so.
I am not entirely sure. So
But I mean, I'm not entirely sure. She might be anywhere. And Sal has a bed here, but I think he's been bunking with, that Poppy.
If it makes Poppy safer for everyone here in town, he's gonna need like a special feather duster for his outfit afterwards to get all the hay and little bits of Poppy.
Salinger does fine keeping himself real clean. And, I miss his company, but I'd rather not, I don't want Papa to eat omelet. And she's very tempting. I want to kill her and eat her all the time.
Just as a note, Esmond, I sent you a message in your channel.
Received. Thank you.
Sal, this morning, is in the stall with Poppy. He has set up some planks of wood as a small table. He's got a couple of dishes and cups that he stole. He's sitting cross-legged on borrowed, semi-permanently, depending on what happens here. Sitting cross-legged, Poppy on the other side of the table. All right. One step at a time, a little bit. Try to pick up that fork, and then just scrape it across the plate. Gotta use your little claws, pinch like this.
Chris, you're Poppy.
No, it's fine. I'll do Poppy. She reaches, scrapes at it, almost like attacking the fork, knocks it off the table, knocking off one of the plates. The plate shatters. I'll try again tomorrow. You see, we can't start staying at the Wanderlust until we get you a little more civilized, Miss Poppy. And that, well, I guess it's going to be more than a couple days. Let's head on to breakfast. I bet that Hakim's already brewing. And he starts heading towards Wanderlust.
Nice. Is anyone else going to? Okay.
is Poppy still staying at the Academy Ranch?
Definitely at night. We have to sleep there because she's nocturnal, and if she decides to get a wild hair and wander around the Wanderlust, there are baby bunnies and things, and I can't risk that.
How far away is the ranch from the town again?
I think we changed it to be. Let's see, it's like. Yeah, it's within an hour. Half an hour.
So one montage worth.
Our morning cardio is jogging from the Cadney Ranch to breakfast every day. Also, I said wild hair. Never let me do that again. It's a wild feather.
Those are just specialized hairs.
Yeah.
Okay. I think in that case, then Charlotte has not yet moved the family back to the ranch, or quite yet to the temple, as she would definitely personally escort them there, and she has not really been seen very much around the town for this past week or so. But she does shortly after she was briefly mentioned my name, she wanders into the Wanderlust, slicking her hair back, which is still wet from her usual morning swim, and just sits down at the table and digs into whatever breakfast is there without much more than a nod to everyone else.
Hey, there you are. I'm gonna be doing that dissection, I think. It's probably about as long as we can keep it on ice without it getting funky, so I'm going to try to do that today. I have some notes for some other things, but I guess we can wait until after you get some... She points to the Hakim.
She starts as if, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And then just reaches toward the Hakim and pours herself a cup.
Yeah, out of character, timing-wise, Chris, that might not make sense. Maybe the dissection should have already happened. It's really hard to know when these things should occur.
It's fine. We'll say you've done all the preparation for it in previous days, and so we can do it in scene rather than just saying you did it.
Okay. Where's Casey? And, I mean, Ez is probably going to be late, or, just doing his thing today, probably.
The seabirds are circling and cawing over the bluffs of the edge of town, and one flies down to a body lying in the tall grasses, splayed out, flat. Pecks at his finger a little bit. He's like, Good morning. He turns, and as he sees the empty grass next to him, his smile fades a bit, and he says, right. A dream. Well, he says we can't live a dream. And he flips over, stands up straight, and looks back at his shadow cast on the grass that's flattened and singed in several spots around the bluffs, and says, I'll race you there, yeah? And his shadow, where the head of his shadow is, a face appears and grins at him with sharp, pointy teeth and dark eyes, and just grins, and he smiles back and nods and takes off his shadow right on his heels.
Back in town. Esmond, you reach the door of the mayor's house.
I start knocking, carrying a couple books in his arm, and just keep knocking till somebody answers.
Yeah, well, the door opens pretty quickly. There's someone there with a crate in their arms. They're like, oh, excuse me.
No, sorry, my...
Yeah, they head out past you and leave the door open, and inside you can see Verdict. Large, the big, what had been almost like a banquet table to serve guests, has just maps and books and stuff all over, and you see Bethedrian there. He looks kind of weary-eyed, going over things, and he glances up and says, Esmond, come in.
Morning, sir. I wanted to bring something to your attention that I think I may have stumbled across last night, this morning, at some point.
Report.
So I believe that the world has shifted on its axis, and this is going to result in potentially cataclysmic events across the world.
He kind of pauses for a long minute. His posture shifts. He clearly expected you to tell him something smaller. He drums the clockwork fingers on the table a little bit and says, What does that mean for us? Do you think you have an explanation for the earth shakes and the changes in the weather?
Esmond's going to pull out the books that he had and just kind of start scattering sheets of sporadic notes and very, very general-looking star charts and that are and timetables, keeping track of things. So, I think potentially yes. The earth shakes specifically didn't really start or didn't become nearly as frequent until after the tower had fallen and the octurne shattered. More directly or more immediately, time is being altered slightly, and not in an observable fashion. The sun is rising earlier, along with it being it's no longer traveling along the same path that it used to. Same with the constellations and the shattered octurne. Everything is altered. The sun is rising 11 minutes earlier, give or take, and winter is also arriving much earlier. And I am concerned that we might be seeing something more drastic in the near future. Potentially longer winters, severe changes in the culture of native species in their natural environments. Granted, I don't know how all of this could also potentially tie into the portals that are tearing themselves recently in our general area. It could be completely unrelated, but sure, let's throw it in there too, I suppose.
You have a strong mind for these things, and I don't mean to question you, but how do you know?
I know about as much as I just laid out for you. Specifically, I didn't note the specific shifting of the axis of the world until last night, until I observed the constellations and the octurne not being where they should have been last night at 2:00. I bring this to your attention because I don't know if perhaps you have a means of getting a hold of some of the scholars in some of the greater cities to potentially warn them or see if they have any additional information.
Let's see. Well, it hasn't been since I arrived here I've been able to make contact with anyone else, but I think we may soon be able to solve that problem. Gather the others. We should talk about this all together. The information that you're seeking may align with some of the other things that we need to do.
Understood. I'll be back shortly. And without gathering it, Esmond's going to leave everything out. He's just going to turn around and head towards the Wanderlust, assuming that's where everyone is.
Okay. Back at the Wanderlust. What you guys doing?
Casey comes strolling in. His hair's tousled and wearing the same clothes as yesterday. There's a little split on his lip right here, and if you look closely, you might see a couple of puncture holes on his shoulder. He comes in glowing, a bit more than normal, but Casey's generally a happy guy. Morning, everyone.
You want a cup of Hakeem, or do you need something cold?
I think cold. Quite fond of that.
the Wanderlust has become a meeting place for, or at least a morning gathering place for many people in town. And you see Lowry is there. Usually he spends his time at the Dry Iron, but he's having a plate of breakfast. And you see Gwen is upstairs. You see her slowly, looks like, what's she doing? Oh, she's stalking after Omelette. Yeah, you see a couple of other townsfolk here or there having plates of food, and there's a general contented din about the place.
I think Charlotte keeps stolidly eating her food and burying her face in her cup of hakim, but like slowly her complexion is getting darker. With blood. She is flushing.
Beth has narrowed her eyes at Casey when he walked in, and then she kind of catches Charlotte and she's like, how are you doing?
Well,
Me?
oh,
Yes, Charlotte.
No, sir.
okay.
No, go ahead and answer, please. Casey goes and finds a chair.
I'm fine.
Fine. You're fine. Like good fine,
Well-
or like bad fine, like actually good fine, or just kind of okay fine? There's lots of different kinds of fines you can be.
I'm fine.
Okay. And Beth resumes eating.
Okay, Beth, you can eat and clean. At least clean your own crumbs.
Anyone seen Ez?
Oh, we were trying to give him a little bit of space after, he tried to bring back, Zephyrus, and it backfired monumentally.
What all happened there?
I don't know, but it's bad.
Yeah, he shouldn't do that again. That was not fun.
What do you mean backfires?
The spell went wrong. It had gone wrong before, and we all were there to just sort of. Well, Sal, what did you see? How long were we in there?
Well, I was posted up next to the door, and then
Oh.
we all woke up around the same time. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
That might have been my mistake, by the way. I thought Sal was in the room.
I'll say that I left the door open, and I guess I just got hit by the residuals of it, so it kind of overlaps with what we said, if that's okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Woke.
I actually didn't realize Sal had made it into the room already.
Well, yeah, he would have just wandered in. I guess we'll say I walked in as you're having that conversation, and you were like, Sal, what happened? So that'll be his entrance.
Sorry.
I think Charlotte turns an even darker red.
Woke up? What do you mean woke up? From the spell?
Yeah, he was trying to call back Zephyrus, and it had gone weird once before, and then we all kind of zonked out during it.
But before he was
Yeah.
able to make Zephyrus even go into the little cuts and call him back, what happened this time?
I don't know, but maybe it's somewhere that he can't get him back now.
Either way, I mean, understandably, he's torn up about it, and it's unsettling at the very least. Dangerous at worst.
So, who was one of the fishmongers that worked at the docks? That, well, sorry, I mean, I guess it's going to be what it's going to be. Anyway, who's the experienced person at the fishmonger? Like a person, I don't know, like a veteran, somebody who's done it for a long time.
I mean, ignoring Doc's question, Casey says, we'll get Zephyrus back. Just because you go in that portal doesn't mean we can't get you back. We're going to get him back.
Well, that's what I was thinking, that maybe we need to go to the portal to be able to, help Zephyrus get back.
And then over that, ignoring the other aspect of the conversation, Shalate looks over at Ava and says, well, there's my great aunt, Akai. She's been there for forever, even if her bones are too gnarled to actually fish anymore.
Oh, that'd be perfect. I just want someone to help actually with the cuts, because they're familiar with the physiology of most fish, and they can sort of help, and I can use their expertise. That should be perfect.
I don't know if she knows how to talk about anything other than fish.
Even better.
I'll be real interested to see what she says about a fish she's never seen before.
I don't want Poppy to try to eat the fish until afterwards.
I'm not sure if she would not believe or if she would be very excited.
Find out, I guess.
I suppose having a dead body of the fish in question is very hard to not believe. I'm not sure how good her sight is these days, though.
All right.
We'll see.
She puts her name down on a piece of paper, a number 1, and starts doing a list for backups. Hopefully Esmond gets here soon.
As though on cue.
We sit in silence for 20 minutes. And then...
It's Norm. You guys see Esmond walking through the doors, a little more rushed than usual. He quickly scans and sees the table that everyone's sitting at, and almost glides over. Immediately grabs a mug and starts fixing himself a cup of Hakeem. Everyone, we need to meet at the mayor's house about now. Bethadrian wants to discuss something with us, something that I observed last night. So let's go.
He wants to talk to us about something you observed?
He has... well, you all need to know about it as well, but he made it seem as though that there was some other revelation that he wanted to share with everybody.
Do you maybe want to let us know the as part ahead of time so that we're not all flying in totally blind, or is this some kind of wonderful surprise?
I can give you a rough breakdown of it as we walk, but it'll be easier to go full into greater detail when we discuss it with Vithedrian.
Shalate had already swigged down the last of the Hakeem and kind of poured the rest of whatever porridge is there for breakfast, and clattered to her feet and gone out the door.
As folks start to get up, it's bad for the digestion to rush through a meal, as he cleans off his face and gently stacks his dishes.
Ooh.
Kabeth gives him a side eye with her mouth half stuffed full.
Yeah, Kabeth, you should probably book an appointment with me at some point then.
What? Why? I'm sure it's fine. I'm fine. This is totally normal. This is a totally normal food consumption, and I am fine. Look at me. I am in great.
Can we not just bring plates with us? Why is everyone stuffing their mouths all of a sudden?
We are not bringing plates along, all right?
It's a great idea.
A basket or something, sure. I can wrap some stuff up in cloth for you all, but you're not bringing plates out. Plates keep going missing anyways.
Okay.
I got to count after the whole big chicken thing rolled through here, and I feel like I'm losing plates and silverware.
Okay, great, noted. Everyone just grab whatever they want. We should go, though, soon.
You heard him. Everyone grab whatever you want.
Oh, no.
Esmond's already gone.
Yeah, Casey will run to catch up with as he runs up, and you see around his right side there are some claw marks that go around from his back to his front, and he comes up to him. I heard about Zephyrus and the spell. What happened? It didn't work?
It's No, it's more complicated than I initially thought.
So it did work.
No, but also not. No, I'm working on it. I'll get it figured out at some point. But thanks. Yeah, everything's fine. I'll just currently we have currently this thing that I figured out takes priority over that for now.
You guys hear a loud flapping of wings and you look upstairs and you see Gwen has dived after Omelet and grabbed hold of her. And she starts tickling her, giggling. She kind of pauses, looks down. Oh, yes.
Hey, Mom, what's happening?
And she pauses for a moment, holding the chicken in her hand, and the chicken's flapping. Oh, nothing. Just playing.
Okay, you know you're not supposed to eat that chicken, though, right?
I would never eat omelet.
Yes, omelet. Don't eat omelet. Despite the name, I think omelet is supposed to. I think omelet just lives here now.
Oh, but she would be so tasty. She lets her go, and omelet goes flying across. Oh, lands on the railing.
Esmond, you should really think about getting your mom a dog.
I will worry about that later, I think. Okay. Okay, Mom, I'll talk to you later. We gotta go, though. Love you. Bye. And
Love you. Have fun.
No, but seriously, like on the list of priorities, that should be like at least number 2.
I'm not sure if Casey's aware of this, but as they turn to start walking, Casey would be like, "Well, have you tried looking through Zephyrus's eyes? And maybe they're just really far away."
I will. I'll give it a shot later. But for now, while this is all fresh in my mind, I really do want to discuss all this with you all in the verdict. But that's actually not a bad idea. I really should have thought that before. Okay, let's move. Let's move.
Quebec's like 50 feet down the street ahead of you.
Peach is tailing behind with like a cloth wrap full of pastries.
Doc's carrying a tablecloth and maybe a handful of silverware.
Well, before too long, you guys have made it to the former mayor's house. Inside, there are books and maps and a bunch of Esmond's notes spread all across this big wooden table.
Okay, sir. Everyone is here now. You said that there was something that you wanted to discuss aside from the shifting.
Indeed, but let's start with your information.
Okay. So just to kind of quickly reiterate what I told the verdict earlier, the world is shifting on its axis. This is most likely due to the tower falling, which has resulted in the sun rising as of this morning that I could track at least 11 minutes earlier. A delay in the shattered nocturne and the stars tracking, along with the sun no longer traveling along the same route that it once did. Additionally, winter is coming earlier, and I think it could potentially last longer as a result.
You can see
So it's
you can see that Salinger has his hand up.
So it's like hitting a ball with a stick.
Not exactly, Sal.
The whole world shifted on its axis. Shifted or shifting? And how do you know that?
Well, okay, so shifted. It's hard to say whether it's finished shifting or is still in the process of shifting. But I know because I have been tracking the constellations and more specifically the sun for the past 6 months in my spare time.
Yeah.
Esmond, make an investigation check, please. And a history check. 24 investigation. 13 history. Okay. Well, you weren't able to find notes going back very far. Most of these are coming from your observations. And you don't have enough information yet to have a conclusion, but you probably formed a hypothesis more than likely based on your observations. Tracking the path of the sun over the last months, it's been spiraling inward, and if it continues on that course, the sun will become stationary over the tower.
So this is a hypothesis. This isn't based. This isn't necessarily accurate or 100% true. But based on the observations and the tracking that I've been doing of the sun, it is currently spiraling and will most likely halt and become stationary directly above the tower.
What do you mean, halt?
It's hard to describe. The easiest way I can clarify is that the path that the sun is currently on, as of me tracking it, it is spiraling to what appears to be a central point, and each spiral, each rotation, has become smaller and smaller, however minimally, over a period of time. And if it continues to spiral in this manner, it appears as though it will reach a stopping point located directly above where the tower is currently located at.
Wait,
What out of characters about in-character knowledge, like what is generally known in Lux about the solar system and gravitational, like planetary movements?
Yeah, I think in Lux the concept of the world being a sphere and is understood.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
we're advanced. We know the Earth is flat. Okay, we know that. If we were to,
This is what Silas has been saying.
I meant specifically like the idea that the Earth seasons are caused by the Earth tilting on its axis, and that it rotates around the sun, and that that it also rotates, and that's what causes day and night.
Do they teach us that in school?
That's what the teachers...
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's what the teachers would teach you. Not everyone agrees with that, but...
Wait, okay, so if what you're saying, and she takes one of the forks that she was carrying and she stabs it into an apple, and she walks up to a candle, and she just basically starts to like circle it around, like manually trying to show it, and then eventually stops with the fork of the apple pointed towards the candle itself, and then just have the whole apple kind of rotate around the candle. So if it keeps going and eventually stops, then the sun would only point here and everything else would be dark.
It's a rudimentary model, but yes, that is the general that is the general idea I've come up with.
The world is going to stop moving?
I don't know if the world is going to stop moving.
spinning.
It's going to...
Sorry, out of character, because I just the stars are still spinning, right? So, but the sun's placement in the sky is shrinking to a single point.
Sorry, that did not mean anything to me.
The world's still spinning, right? But the sun's pattern across the sky is changing.
Sal?
Oh, I was just trying to visualize what you're all talking about as complex.
It's kind of difficult to visualize because the concept is incredibly absurd, and yet it is happening, I think.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it is absurd, but a giant thing fell from the sky and it landed on us, and then it knocked. It's like when you're playing marbles and you knock one marble into another, and then that marble's getting knocked. So we got knocked somewhere, and now we're all gonna die. Because we can't just like get rid of the tower. We can't. If we move the tower to the other side, it doesn't push us back. So how do we fix this?
I doubt we're going to be able to fix it right away, but we should probably know how much time we've got until this actually happens, because I don't... I
DM, do I have, as part of my hypothesis, do I have like an estimate of time before, let's call it Armageddon?
Well, I don't know if you need to describe it that way, but based upon what you've seen so far, about 6 months.
Oh, that's so
So
much
what
less
does
time
that
than I realized.
mean for us if the sun... I still don't really understand, but I will take a word for it. But if the sun is always in one spot in the sky, there's no night, so does that mean all the nocturnal animals die?
It's not that... It's not necessarily that dire. If the shifting of the sun's orbit becomes permanent and we no longer receive sunlight in our part of the world, we would enter an everlasting period of nighttime, essentially, which would dramatically alter the natural environment.
Just a quick,
Isn't it the other way around?
just a quick out of character thing. More than likely, an easy estimate, you would still have sunlight where you are.
Yeah, because we would be able to know. Again, with math, we should be able to figure out who would have sunlight, who would have twilight, and where would be darkness.
So we wouldn't, yes, so it wouldn't necessarily be permanent night or permanent day for us. We're not terribly far from the tower, but the changes that our environment would suffer would dramatically alter our lifestyles, I think.
Yeah. Out of character, let me set some things so that Esmond isn't being asked to explain things that I haven't explained. If what Esmond's calculations are correct, it would basically be late. It would stop at late afternoon for all of you where you are. The world, based upon what the stars are doing, the world will still be spinning. It's just the North Pole will be pointing right at the sun.
So, yeah, and then out from that, eventually you'd reach like twilight, and then beyond that would be darkness around the rest of the globe, right?
Yeah, there would be an equator that separates
So
day and night.
the southern hemisphere is fucked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
To be renamed the Southern Fuckosphere.
But there'd also be like a permanent magic hour in a ring all around for filming. It would be perfect. I mean,
It would just be hollering. I prefer the terminology hem as fuck.
So the Thedrian says, I don't know much about these things, but if that's happening, should it be getting warmer? Why is it getting colder?
Can we be getting further away from the sun?
Something like that even possible? Looks at Esmond.
It's okay. I just been clarifying for everybody. I am an engineer. This is all very new space for me. But due to even if the sun were to shift to a permanent point where it would no longer rotate around us, the natural environment that we find ourselves in would be altered dramatically to the point that seasons would change regardless of how close the sun is or isn't to us. I think it could potentially result in a never-ending winter, or simply longer seasons of winter and shorter springs. We're getting into territory where I'm unable to predict necessarily what is going to change.
So if all of this is happening because of the tower, should we maybe go and try to help the army destroy the tower?
I guess so, yeah. I mean, that's where it would be needed most if this thing is gonna ruin everything.
We were supposed to have gone there anyway, until...
So, we just have to really put a move on and finishing up stuff here and making sure everyone's okay so that we can go like we were supposed to, I guess.
But Thedrian says, traveling north, crossing the sea, join up with the army there, certainly a possibility. But there's much that we don't know. We had not heard anything from the army. Even before the appearance of the creatures.
Well, sir, what do you know about the tower? I mean, you must have more information on it than we do.
What we do know is that all of our scouts sent north to Sarathan did not return. And after several expeditions, the army was marshaled. No one that's gone as far north as Sarathan has returned or been heard from again.
So nothing. We know nothing about it.
No one who has gone far enough to have seen what is there has come back to report anything at all.
Wait, sir, you said that there was I had suggested earlier about somehow reaching out to some of the greater cities to the scholars. You said that you were working on something, right?
And that's what I wanted to speak with all of you about. Well, with the creatures driven from the forest and their lair and their leader destroyed, it makes this town quite a bit safer. We have control of the temple now, and the resources there. And there are several small villages scattered throughout the Silent Wood and the Babbling Wood, but I think our best guess is making an expedition, gaining control of the city of Mirwood. All of you have grown much stronger. There's the possibility that we could pose a threat to the creature there. Once we have control of those crossroads, the resources of that city, anyone who may have survived be in a much stronger position than we are now. And from there, perhaps, we could control the road into the west.
Mirrod was the closest city to us that the train was supposed to go to?
Yeah, it's an actual city.
And that was 1 week out by train, correct?
I can't remember what I decided on the actual time. I'm going to say, I think it was 2 days full travel by train.
Much closer. Okay.
I think that was true.
It was like a week by foot or something. Is what it was.
Something like that.
Okay. So, Doc will sort of look as he's talking. She's looking over the injuries that, seeing how the Thedrin's healing. When does it look like he'd be about ready, in her estimate, to head out?
Probably within the next week.
Okay. I guess you could be ready to go within about a week or so. How does this affect your previous mission? She asked about that.
Yeah. When the two are aligned, I come to the town of Merewood in order to investigate the necromancer.
DM, is there a map in this office of maybe not the continent, but like the surrounding cities, towns, or like general landmarks to kind of give us a better idea?
Yeah, there's lots of sketches and stuff like that, at least of the surrounding area. That's the stuff that Thedrin's been collecting kind of from the town and from the mayor's stuff. There's lots of small villages dotted throughout the woods and things like that. But Merewood is certainly the nearest, like, actual city, actual settlement. Araya, is your roll a perception check? And 12, yeah. As you're glancing at all the maps strewn on the table, you can't help but notice on one of them there's a light sketch of a tower to the southeast.
Oh. And mirror that's the opposite direction.
Not opposite, but Merewood is south and west, and this is south and east. So.
She steps towards the table and like kind of like turns them out, if it's small, towards her just to take a closer look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see that there's a river that runs down and then runs adjacent to the tower, and it looks as though there's like a small village that doesn't even have a name on it, kind of nearby.
Is this where's this? What's this village?
Looks like one of the surveying sketches of the region that's mapping the river.
There might be people that need our help here too.
Indeed, we can suspect there's some survivors at all of the villages.
Maybe we could stop this direction and bring them to maybe one of the larger villages. Bigger places have a better chance of survival, kind of like here, right?
Ultimately, it's a very small town. It's quite out of the way.
Anybody we bring back, we'd have to be able to feed him.
No, I know. I just well,
They might also be workers, though.
Yeah, it just had been mentioned that there were some supplies at this tower. I think that.
Who?
Supplies. What kind of supplies?
When we were talking about, I don't know. It was Well, what's this tower anyway?
Well, whoever said there were supplies, I mean, what?
Thedrin reaches over, and now that you've drawn attention to the map, he takes the map and slides it over to himself and studies it. He gets quiet for a little bit looking at it.
I mean, any good tower has supplies, yeah?
Maybe they were talking about this town. It was before all the stuff had happened, and we were, when we were under siege by slimes, and we didn't have much more than buckets and brooms.
Who is they?
It was a while ago. A lot's happened since then. I just didn't think about it until I saw the map.
While Vithedrian is looking over that map, Esmond's just going to kind of speak up. We could potentially stop along any small towns or villages that are along the way, even if they're a little out of the way, but we could potentially instruct any survivors to come back here. They could all, it could be a means of reinforcing the town while also protecting any survivors that we come across, rather than continuing to bring them with us to Muirwood.
Vithedrian kind of taps on the map and he says, I know this tower.
Oh! What is it?
I've not been there, but more than a decade ago, a group of verdicts were sent there.
For what? Another necromancer?
I wasn't assigned there, I'm not sure.
Well, a bunch of verdicts went there. There's got to be some. There could potentially be great supplies there, right?
What supplies are supposed to be there?
Sorry, my assumption is that if a group of verdicts, goes someplace, that there could potentially be things that are left over that weren't picked up by. I'm jumping to conclusions. I'm working under the assumption that there could potentially be leftover items from whatever the verdicts were doing there that we could use for ourselves.
Why wouldn't they just take them with them?
I agree.
Doesn't matter.
There's no reason they would have left anything useful behind.
We could still check it out, though, and I like the idea of, if we go check on some of the other towns and send them to our town where we have fortifications and, more people to work the fields. As long as we can feed everybody, why not make it safe?
Well, it's just a question of, time and resources, right? And we used hand carts. We could take the tracks on the opposite side of the train wreckage, be there in a few days. We'd go directly there. Or we go by foot. And I guess we would explore some of these other places along the way. It's just which is going to be the best for us.
Well, if we're passing by close, regardless, I could run as a messenger. Scope out places, We don't all have to go there. If I scope it out and it looks worth all of us going, then we'll detour,
Yeah,
They should be going anywhere alone.
Vithedrian says, this tower's almost a week away. I can't travel for a week anyway. If you want to see if there are resources there to gather, certainly can.
It also doesn't seem as important, this tower, that may or may not have something when the ship is less than a day away and has something that was supposed to be on there that might help us with the portals.
Kibeth has kind of ribbed Shalatine and whispers, well, learn to keep up with me and then you can come along.
Vithedrian will say, strategically I agree with Shalati. The ship is closer and offers many resources. It may be time for you to do both before we're ready to even leave the town. Or before we're ready to head to Muirwood.
It'd be an extra week of you hanging out here. If it's a week to the tower and a week back, then you would just have to make do. So it's just a delay of a week, maybe.
There's much to do here. We've been here a long time. We can finish shoring up the walls before we depart.
Okay. If you guys think it's worth it. What supplies did they say were there, Araya?
Well, honestly, maybe it was more to do with it being a defensible position.
Oh. May not even be worth going then, and we don't need another place a week out of the way to just try to defend something.
No, you might be right. I honestly didn't even think of it until I saw the map, and then I got worried about the people, and then I remembered, somebody had mentioned a tower, and then I don't know, I just want to help.
maybe it'd be worth instead focusing on getting what supplies we can from the ship and me developing this device and us coming up with other tools to defend the town, and then when we leave to travel to Muirwood, we can travel along and help whatever small towns that we can. And if we can secure Muirwood, maybe when we come back here to Shepherd's End, we could, if it's not too much trouble, check out the tower then, if it seems worth it at that point. But it doesn't seem, Araya, based on what you're saying, I don't know if it'd be worth the trip currently.
Oh, that also makes so much more sense, because, I mean, if something bad happened and they had to flee, the closest town that they would probably go to would be the bigger one instead of us. So there might be refugees or somebody from that tower village that knows something about what's going on in the next town over.
Yeah.
But we can do the ship thing probably a day or two. I mean, it's just right around.
We do have a...
Well,
we do have a scroll that could potentially work to our advantage if we're trying to get to that ship, but that'll be for another meeting when we need to strategize on how to get to it. Shalati, that kind of seems more up your alley.
Oh yeah, I've got like notes and stuff. I'm like ready to go to that ship thing. I've got ideas.
I was going to say that getting there will be easy. Maybe even getting the stuff might be easy, but getting the enormous fish out of the way might not be so easy. At least with the Great Oromachus, it was on land. And all of our weapons work the same way. It is harder to fight underwater in a place you cannot breathe. Unless we have... I mean, we can maybe get several of the robots, but that's pretty hard. My mother was a whaler, and even then, I don't know if a regular whaling ship would be up against this.
Amphithrian says, Shalati, do you think there's a way to reach the supplies? You know that area better than any of us.
Well, possibly if we do the thing where bait something with a morsel it cannot ignore, and then if I would like to have free access to the ship, which might take hours to actually get everything from it. But if there is no choice, then maybe if a few people who are going quietly can find the specific thing that Esmond needs. And perhaps some of the sealed ingots, or the ingots of materials that were supposed to be there. I suppose any food would be destroyed by now anyway.
A supply of metal would be incredibly useful if we can obtain it.
So we need to focus on the ship, and then when we get done with that, then we'll figure out whichever next step we're going to take, whether we're going to a tower or a town or whatever.
It seems like a good idea.
Actually, thinking about it, is there some kind of inlet or a harbor along that coast that maybe has like a narrow area that is still wide enough? So basically, I'm thinking, is there something like a little cove that we could trap or strand that giant monster in?
Not that you know of so specifically. Shepherd's End itself is like the best sort of harbor in the area. That's kind of how the town began up.
That's what I had from my notes. That's what I wanted to figure out. I was figuring that if anybody knows some of the stuff around those fish and like their behaviors or some ideas, we could talk to some of the fishermen and stuff like that. And we might need a boat or two.
There are some rowboats still in the harbor, but no ships, no sails.
I think we'll need a bigger boat than that. But I guess we have to make do with what we have.
Let's speak with some of the fishermen, I suppose. Worst comes to worst, one of the scrolls that we found at the temple would permit us to breathe underwater for up to 24 hours, give or take.
That would be very helpful.
It's not breathing that we gotta worry about. It's those big fish that Shalati saw.
Well, I feel like
Well, don't worry
both.
about both.
I feel like both could be equally troublesome.
All right. Well, I can figure out what I can from the body. What else do we need to do?
Practice hitting things underwater, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably wise that everyone not use any lightning style abilities. I'm specifically referring to myself while we're under there. Just one particular note.
Oh,
Do you think fire would work underwater?
that's what I was just
Probably
thinking.
not.
Yes, exactly. I was thinking that Casey may not be able to be as effective.
I think we'd have to drag Casey kicking and streaming into the water for that even to happen.
Shalati forgets herself for not long enough to look over at him, and then remembers, and then blinks and looks away.
Casey is like bouncing his leg in nervous tick fashion. Yeah, no.
Oh, it's not going to affect you at all?
I don't think that there's anything that could actually stop O. Not even an entire ocean.
I think lots of sailors have thought that before.
Casey kind of glances up at Shalati when she says that, and then over at Espen and says, I mean, if you need what's on the ship.
Oh, so you need proper motivation to get you in the water.
You could, if we get in trouble, say things like, oh no, these are some hot waters or something like that.
Doc, did you just make a joke?
Yeah.
Well, also not everybody has to go. It could be just a small team that sneaks past these creatures if we deem that as a viable option as well. We have a number of decisions to make before we actually follow through on traveling to the sunken ship.
I think I can be ready by tomorrow, the next day at the latest. I don't really want to go in the water, but I don't know how helpful I'd be. Oh, but I do have a bunch of stuff that I'm working on, and it feels like I'm super close to being able to do it. Like, there's so much potential with magic, and it's like you just have to be like, I know these things will work, and I think some of them might be helpful, so that maybe I can actually be more helpful. I don't know.
Well, that might be something useful to work on after the dissection. You might have the most information or help here then.
How many of those big old fish would you expect us to see, based on your
The
time
biggest
on the
one?
water?
The
How
biggest
many
one or
first,
the-
and then how big? Both.
The biggest one was, she indicates, from the point on the back wall of the mayor's place and then she walks over to the front door and opens it up and then looks out and points to something that's apparently equivalently as far as she judged the size was. So that was about how big that one was, I think. I didn't get very close, so this is just a guess. And then the smaller ones were, and she kind of holds out, like, up to her height. It was about 5 or 6 feet long, or were they taller?
Yeah, about, yeah.
Yeah. The other ones were about as big as me, but chunkier. I mean,
So
we
that
can
sounds-
bring the... We can bring it here and do the dissection here. Or we can go over there now and watch while Vashka does her thing.
I was more just thinking that sounds like a death trap unless we have a distraction to lure them away from the ship as we approach. I don't know how comfortable all of you are fighting under the water, but I'm very comfortable fighting on land. I'd rather not get in a scrape if we can avoid it.
Maybe we'll know more when we dissect it, what they eat, and then we can figure out something to chum the waters in an area away from the ship and buy people enough time to get down there and back.
The little ones, at least, they are very sensitive to blood. I cut myself just a little bit, and she kind of just like does a little nail press in my thumb, and I was hundreds of feet away, and a few of them smelled it and came over to investigate. That's how I got that one.
Shalati, how far away is the ship from the coastline, if you had to give an estimate?
She gives an estimate. Jim.
Oh,
It was like at least 300 feet or more, right?
yeah, it was. I want to say 300 feet out. Yeah.
So not like the furthest out necessarily, just
Football field.
just very, very much underwater, surrounded by deadly creatures.
Mm-hmm. And there was cover from like coral and things like that. I think about halfway there. Right.
There's no cover around it either, and I would guess the ship was maybe 50 feet down? Whatever it actually was.
Is this particular section of water a place that we might have swam when we were younger, or has it been dangerous by default, and now it's way more dangerous because of the creatures?
Yeah, you guys would have definitely stayed in the fjord. Like the sea around is rough and kill you kind of water.
Gotcha.
I mean-
The kind where the current will crash you through the coral reef until you're shredded.
Yeah, smash you with rocks.
I mean, Sal might be onto something not going in the water. What if we just bring the ship to us on land?
How do we do that?
Is maybe a contraption to haul it out, hook something onto it, pull it up to the shore. It might tear it to pieces as much as get us out of there.
Yeah, I feel like the contraption that you are hinting at would take me an incredible amount of time to be able to haul something that large and heavy without destroying any of it. Yeah, I'm just gonna say that is not a viable option if we want this done within the next week.
Fair, I'm no
mean-
engineer.
What about magic?
I mean,
If we have some sort of magic that can, like, force it out of the water, we can just use force.
Well, how big is it? Like, what's the size of the ship?
One of the trade ships that come in are usually galleons, things like that. They're quite large.
Is that like a 30 feet long ship or a... I don't know how big, I don't know what it got. I can look it up.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll say about 50 feet. I can't remember how big the maps for them are in the game, but let's estimate 50 feet. I think something like that.
Well, I mean, okay, if you want to go just to explore all ideas, if you don't want to make a machine because that would take too long, if you did it as manual as possible, what we do have is a lot of people. If we had enough people and enough ropes and enough nets, could we feasibly, potentially drag it closer to us? Is that even possible? Just a question.
The room looks at Esmond.
repeat the question one more time.
I guess it is almost out of character. Probably Chris would have to. Is there any feasibility, she's proposing, to just collect enough ropes and nets and use the strength of the 100+ people, however many actual human bodies they have, to just, like, try to drag it a little bit closer? Maybe stupid, but yeah.
I mean, that
Does
doesn't.
it-
That. Sorry, go ahead.
Well,
No,
well, certainly, if you were able to get a rope long enough in order and attach it to the crates of supplies and things like that, and then have people strong enough to haul them in. Sure.
It's too bad we just can't send someone down there invisibly.
Oh! I mean, do you think it would work like that?
I mean, well, yeah, it's just a matter of having enough long enough rope and a clear enough line and making certain it doesn't get hooked around something. It's just underwater things weigh a fraction of the weight they typically would, so dragging it wouldn't be as much of an issue.
And it would be okay if I took, like, much longer.
What do you mean?
She's underwater, though not in. She is invisible, not whatever the word is for not present. And I don't know how they see or not, if they see with their eyes or if they see with the clicks.
That's why I gotta cut it open.
And that says nothing about the big one, even the little ones they would see with their eyes or nose. Or it's just the sense of the water pressure moving around. Water is much thicker.
I still think, I don't know, invisible's a really good option.
As long as the big old fish don't smell you.
We could test it ahead of time.
Taste you.
I'm
Smell,
not-
taste? How they do that?
I don't smell tasty. Right, Ava? Right? Like, a fish wouldn't be like, oh, yes.
Casey looks back and forth at the two of them and then over at us.
She has a good nose. She'd know. Right?
I mean,
I don't think Ava is a big fish.
that's racist.
I mean, live your dreams, I suppose. Be what you want to be, but
So we need to turn Ava into a fish and have her smell the water while she's a fish to see if I smell tasty. Or we can just honestly have me go in the water while invisible and see if it draws or attracts any attention without being dire circumstances.
Wait a
Like,
minute,
I
you've
could go
lost
for
her.
a swim.
Doc, can you turn into a fish?
No. I could maybe do something else. But I don't think I could do a fish.
you can turn into. You think you can turn into other things?
Something fish related?
Not related
Frog.
to fish.
Salamander.
That's amazing. Can you turn into a snake?
I've never tried. There's a whole lot of stuff. Like, I mean, magic can do. It's incredible. There's so many things, and it's like she looks around and it's like, well, I'm not going to go into it, obviously, but like maybe I don't know. I'll figure out. I don't think that should be the plan, though. Is me trying to turn into something, but I can try. But I can think about it.
You're getting close already. As fishy as you're acting.
See? There he is. Now just that, but underwater.
So about this tower.
All right. Well, I guess we can brainstorm a little bit more. We have some more time. I'll spend the day and I grab Shalati, your helper, I guess, if you could send them over, and then I guess anyone else, Sal, if you know anybody, or Casey, anyone around the docks that, I don't know, has good eyes and has spent some time on the water. I don't know, or a fishmonger specifically, I guess. But that might be too many. No, that's fine. Don't do that. Shalata, you just send the person over and I'll work with her.
Alright, I will go find my curriculum. I suppose it's actually, I only chipped in on her once, so she might be mad at me.
And then reconvene this evening. I can bring everybody, I can tell you guys the results. It shouldn't take more than a few hours, I don't think. And when I'm done, we should have fish to eat. We can talk more about it then. Oh, Kabeth, can you find books on exotic fish? Like, just to use as reference? Ignored as usual.
She went AFK.
Yeah.
She definitely would, though.
Okay, well, I'll go get the fish ready and start the prep work for it. And then,
I'll
yeah.
bring it to the infirmary, the apothecary, the physical.
Yep.
Yeah, Charlotte will get up and head out the door.
Okay. Hey, Doc will follow. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, when Shalati stands up, Casey also stands up, somewhat quickly and awkwardly, but as she walks out and as she leaves, he sits back down.
Eva's gonna trot after Shalati to go help her with the fish. And as she comes up behind her, she's just going to like walk beside her and just stare, just like look, just stare at her just a little bit and then stop eventually and just walk with her.
I think Charlotte does the thing where she's like,
Yeah. She just shakes her head slightly and rolls her eyes and just walks with you in silence as you guys go towards the thing.
As Casey sits back down, he leans back in his chair onto two legs and puts his hands behind his head, and says, if we need to change the rotation of the planet, we'll do that too. And he grins at him.
Sure, I'll just add it to my list of tasks. I'll just chalk that one up. It's a little further down, but yeah, it's there.
Well, just a few more simple little items on our checklist. This meeting done,
I think we're more or less done for now. We can all meet back later at the Physiker, see what Doc's figured out.
The veteran says, sounds like you have a plan. Good hunting.
Araya is going to follow Ez specifically away from and to his workshop.
Okay, so we have Shalati Ava going to Fishmonger. We have Araya Esmond going to the workshop. Any other specific places people are going? Kabath's probably going to get books, I assume. Maybe Salinger helping.
could help Kabeth. Depends on if she wants to do that when she gets back. But no specific dictates.
Okay, cool. Anything else?
Peach will help with whomever as well.
Okay. What would you have Peach do, or like where does she want to go?
Like helping Kabeth if Kabeth wants help. Otherwise, helping Sal with whatever.
Okay, sounds good. Going with that. Cool. All right, let's take a little 10-minute break.
All right. Kevin, I love your cartoon here. Thank you for posting that.
Esmond, you're almost back to the clockwork heart. You hear light footsteps behind you. Araya, you catch up with Esmond.
Ez, like looking behind, making sure we're far enough away from the verdict.
Oh yeah, you're like 10 minutes away now.
Ez, wait, you're longer legs than me.
Sorry, I didn't know you were falling. Hey, what's
No, the
up?
tower. I realized I got excited when I saw it, and then I said, and I really shouldn't have mentioned it with the verdict, but your mom was the one that told me about the tower. she said that there were there were like supplies there, like weapons there that were worth getting, and I suddenly didn't want to. I don't trust him, not like I trust you all, and I forgot, and then I thought, oh, it might come up, and then I saw the tower, and I was like, oh yeah.
Hold on. My mom told you about the why? Why?
Just in case we needed weapons. She said that there were some at the bottom or underneath or hidden, stored.
DM, the answer is no. But do I recall any mention of the tower or of Gwen traveling in that direction at all?
No, nothing like that.
She's never mentioned it before.
I just think it hasn't come up, and you.
Okay, sure. Did she mention anything else did she mention why she knows about that?
I think you should find a way to talk to her about it. Maybe it's not really my place.
Sorry, I'm playing catch up, I guess, right now. Did she? Is this supposed to be secret or something?
Your mom told me a few things in confidence. I think we should visit the tower without the verdict, and I could maybe tell you more. I don't mean to be vague, it's just your mom. I kept asking her to talk to you about it, and she said no.
Okay, yeah, sure, I'll talk with her. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just, I should have mentioned it sooner. But a lot has been going on, honestly, so I guess I didn't. That's my bad, I'm sorry.
When did she tell you?
Oh, the slimes, honestly, when we were trying to find weapons at all, and suddenly it felt like a bad idea to be like, oh, there's a weapon stash in this place over here, and then he said that the verdicts had been there, and suddenly I panicked, and I didn't want to get your mom in trouble.
Okay, no, it's... I'll talk with her about it. Just don't, it's fine. It's fine. A lot happened at that time, and a lot that could be forgotten, and you also, you made a promise, so I get that. That's fine. I'll talk with her.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, you two should. Yeah, she's your mom. Okay, all right. She looks relieved, but also anxious, and turns. I'm gonna go practice not being fish bait. I don't want to get bit by fish, but I don't know how to tell if they're gonna bite me or not. They're fish.
I mean, that is true. We'll figure something out. Maybe you don't necessarily have to be fish bait. I would prefer if you weren't fish. I mean, I would prefer if nobody was fish bait.
No one wants to be fish bait.
No, yeah, definitely. No, it's definitely a bad idea for.
I'm pretty sure fish hunt with their eyes, right? It's not by. They don't have noses. They can't smell the water. It's silly to imagine that.
I don't know enough about wildlife in general to want to
Me
presume
either.
know how they hunt.
Do you think I should go invisible around Poppy to see if she can tell if I'm there?
It's definitely, I mean, that for sure is worth experimenting with, but I don't know. Let's wait to run those kinds of experiments until Doc's finished her dissection of the of that creature that Shalati brought back, and maybe she'll be able to give us a better idea of what to kind of prep for.
Yeah. Yeah. I should ask Shalati too. Yeah, I should.
I think they went to the Fisker. You can probably find both of them there. But yeah, I agree. Nobody should be bait. You shouldn't be. Nobody should be bait. I can only snap with one hand. I can't snap with two. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, tell your mom I said hi. Okay, bye.
Spin on my heel and just kind of keep walking to the workshop to find Gwen.
Nice. Beth, Peach, and Salinger all reach Kebeth's home with the task of finding books that may offer information on fish.
I mean, there's lots of books in my library. Maybe there's some on fish.
Give us a little bit of description of Kebeth's home. I don't know if we've seen that in a while.
Yeah, so Kebeth's house is tucked into a little corner of a hill. The main part of the house, 2 stories. And jutting from one side is the rather large work area that her family has traditionally made their living. There's a central forge with 2 places for working from built in that heats up, and quite a large number of benches, and there's a little nook where Rhea has a place to sit when she comes and visits now. That's official. And Kebeth has also built a makeshift kitchen around one side of the forge. One side is for forging iron, the other side is for cooking food while working, multitasking. On the first floor of the house is also a proper kitchen with a small eating area. And Kebeth has a room tucked off in this area while everybody else sleeps upstairs. She has a room on the first floor, and it's purely because she acquired so many books that her parents feared that if she piled any more upstairs, that the house itself could just topple over in that direction, even though this was completely unfounded in fear. That was the joking reason why they moved her downstairs, though really it's because she stayed up late reading so many times she disturbed her siblings' slumber. So they gave her own space to sleep where the candlelight wouldn't disturb anybody else. And her sleeping area doesn't really have many possessions beyond books and a place to sleep. The books are piled high around her area, and they're kind of organized by category. And if you ask her for something on a particular subject, she'll I think I have something on that, and then she'll comb through piles excitedly and then hand you a tower of books about from your waist high up to your chin for you to try to precariously carry to the table.
Kebeth, when all do you have time to read all these books? You are working like 9 out of 10 times I see you.
Well, I mean, I read most of them when I was younger, and when I had more free time, because I was still just delivering mail and I didn't have to work the forge. But now that there's nobody else to work the forge, I mean, my siblings do help sometimes, but like sometimes they're also just, well, they're busy trying to keep the house in order and everything. And so because I'm now the oldest person who's still here, because Rel is still alive. Like, let's be real. Like, just because he went off to the tower doesn't mean he's dead. So he's probably alive, and maybe my father's alive too. I don't know. But regardless, I have to do a lot of work, and I don't get to read as much, but I find time sometimes.
Salinger, roll a perception check.
I have to describe something as I'm doing that.
Okay.
When Salinger walks into this room, piles of books in all directions, he visibly shudders and goes pale. the lack of organization, sending every hair on his body kind of in all directions. And then I'll roll perception.
Peach, meanwhile, is kind of flipping through the books closest to Kebeth's sleeping area and saying, are any of these, like, interesting reads? Like, good stories? Or are they all, I mean, we gotta find ones about fish, but you know what I mean, romantic ones.
Oh, I mean, I was gonna say there's all kinds of books. Like some of them are like about history and facts and things and stuff. Charlotte gave me a really awesome book on things you can eat in the wild. You should read that one. Just in case.
Right. I don't
But-
want to read a book and waste
I
my
know.
time learning about a thing that I can really learn about.
I have stories too. Hold on. She digs through a pile and she kind of moves. She moves another. Like you see her like shove a stack to the side, and from like the dirt in the floor, it's clear she has done this many times. She just kind of scoops this pile back and forth out of the way to get to another pile behind it. She's like, hold on. She reaches down and oh, this one. She takes a big stack and she hands it to you. That's like just heavy enough that like you probably just barely hold it. She's like, hold that. I'll take it back in a second. Just hold. And she pulls one book out and she then she takes the stack from your hand with one arm and hands you the other one, and then gently puts down the big stack perfectly in a very practiced motion. She's like, here, this one's a nice romance. There's some kind of squire and they go on a mission to rescue someone from a monster, but it goes fine. You just read it. You read it. I don't want to spoil it.
As they're doing this, Salinger, with your 16 perception, you catch out of the corner of your eye a bit of movement. There in the doorway into the room, you catch Kebeth's younger sisters, Hessa, Nale, peeking around the corner, looking at you. When you spot them, they giggle and run away.
Double takes back and forth for a moment. Takes in a deep breath, looking at the piles of books. All right. Your sisters are lurking just outside, by the way, if you want to invite them in.
Where would we put them? She gestures to this room where there's barely enough space for you to stand.
Well, I mean, can't they help us sort? We need to find fish books, not fish.
Sorting? Who's sorting? No one. Just give me a minute and I'll find what you're looking for. Hold on.
Yeah, fish. Let's just go for fish. I need to sit down.
Go sit on the table. I'll bring it. Listen, I know it looks like chaos, but I promise you that I know exactly where every single book in this pile is, and I know where it's located more or less. It just might take me a minute to figure out. But I know basically where all the books are. It's a carefully crafted system that only I can decipher.
Sal pulls a random book out of one of the towers of books when he sits down, just to kind of flip through so he doesn't have to look around the room as you're searching.
Peach would take a seat next to Salinger and start flipping through the book that Kebeth has loaned her.
It's a very saucy romance.
Yay!
Very saucy. Kebeth is hurriedly moving piles about and pulling out. There's a stack of books growing upon the bed.
Peach flips to a page and kind of does a snort laugh, and then shuts the book. And she looks up at Sal and says, I was thinking there's plenty of fish books at the Wanderlust, but I think all of them are about cooking.
There's probably some cookbooks in here too.
All right. So we pull back from the three of you as you sit down to begin your research. We arrive over near the old docks that are now dilapidated, but Ava and Shalati.
Look, I'm telling you, nothing happened. You can stop looking at me like that.
She just slowly shakes her head and rolls her eyes. I mean, sure. I mean, you can... If it did, I'm just saying it would be kind of dumb and sort of against everything you kept saying wasn't going to happen. I'm just saying.
Nothing happened. If anything did happen, it would certainly never happen again.
Mm-hmm. Good, just like it didn't happen the first time.
Oh,
but
look,
that's
there's my
fine.
great aunt. She's like, with a note of relief, quickens her step and goes to, like, waves her hand to the person that she has just found.
Tell us the slightest bit about Akai.
I imagine her as being super old and the kind of person who really loved what she was doing, but is now too old and arthritic, and possibly maybe missing a limb, but to actually go out and do it again. And I would think one of the oldest family members she has left, as a lot of the other ones either moved off or were shipped out to the tower. But she was told as being too stubborn to die. But I don't think that they were necessarily very close because she was like a much removed branch of the family.
Okay, sounds good. Also, do me a quick favor. Turn on your automatic noise suppression because it's very staticky. Your voice sounds good, but there's like a hiss in the background, a pretty loud one. Yeah, Ava, so as you look across the docks, you see sitting at an old near an old stack of crates near a small table that has a bit of food on it. You see an old woman. And sorry, what was the race again?
She's a Yuan-Ti. She's a Bakir.
Okay. Yeah, and you can see hints of scale on certain ridges of her body, like along one cheekbone and along the edge of an elbow. Her skin sagging just a bit, looks dry. Her eyes are gray and cataract, and you can see on her right leg, the leg is certainly has been amputated at the knee, and it looks as though there's a peg leg, looks like wooden, in its place, and she is deftly removing knots from what seems to be a fishing net.
As they're approaching, Doc's sort of posture and demeanor change from being a little bit more relaxed physically, and with her sort of chiding and familiarity with Shalati, she brushes the clean apron, but as though to brush some things off, and sort of straightens up a little bit, as a child might when they're approaching an elder. And it's clear that this is something that was taught to her from a young age and still affects her, even though she's now technically an adult herself.
Yeah, the sound of your footfalls on the wooden docks. She pauses in what she's doing and cants her head a little bit.
Great on the guy. Just kind of waves them to. We have some questions for you, maybe, or.
There's a slow narrowing of her eyes. Questions? Do you?
Are you yeah, I guess, I'm sorry. Ava will let Shalati take lead.
Shalati just kind of hesitates and then looks at Ava and says, well, maybe more accurately, we found a strange fish that Ava is going to be dissecting, and we're maybe hoping you could come and see it, look at it, and see if you can tell anything from it. Because of your vast experience with the fish and the creatures of the sea, and
Are you bringing me news of my grandchildren?
great aunt. What would her grandchildren be? My cousins, or?
Oh, yeah. She let's say she always says that, but she's talking about your younger siblings. She calls them grandchildren.
Nothing new.
What are your questions then?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Would you help with the dissection? I thought you could offer some of your expertise as I performed it, because you're probably a lot more familiar with the physiology and varieties of fish, and you could aid with the dissection and maybe point out things that I would be less familiar with, and I would do some of the cutting, and together we could try to learn about this new fish, because we need to get into an area where there are lots of them, and it's very dangerous. And the more we know about them, the safer we will be. And maybe we could even catch them and feed people with them or something. But that's
You do not need new fish. Old fish are good enough.
Well, we don't need them, but they are here. I'm not sure if they are edible either, but we haven't tried yet.
How far is it away?
it's at the physicker's office.
That's too far.
We could do it here.
Fine. Bring your fish. Bring me wine.
Yes, we can do that. Thank you.
Eva sort of nods her head as they back up and leave. And as they're walking away, she sort of, as an aside to Shalati, says, "So does she want them in that order, or?"
Bobby cracks a little bit of a smile and says, maybe the wine first will soften her up. Man, I forgot how terrifying she is. I thought being older and bigger would help, but not really.
She's like a much older version of you.
I am not that scary. Am I that scary? She actually starts to look a little bit pleased at this.
I may be blind. My hearing is very good.
Oh, he starts to walk away faster.
Yeah, but they both do as they get far away.
Let's see. Where's Casey? What's Casey doing?
So the ever-growing obstacle course surrounding Casey's home has grown day to day, sprawling, encompassing other empty homes around. There's a section where there's a pit of sand and a bit of water at one end. Casey walks over with purpose, pushes a box, or tosses a weighted box into the water end, and it sinks down, vaguely shaped like a boat. He's like, all right. Kind of steps back a little bit, and he looks back at his shadow and says, yeah. No, I mean, of course I saw her at breakfast. I mean, how could I not? All we need to do is get the ship out of the water. It's simple. It should be simple, right? Casey looks at the sand, looks at the water. Well, I mean, we could just do this, and kind of walks towards it with purpose. And as he does, he waves his hand, and the waters part as he steps onto the still wet sand up to the box. And he's like, but the water's not that shallow. He steps away, and as he steps away, the water kind of collapses back in and splashes against the box, sunken to the bottom. And he turns around, and what if we... And he swings his hand around again and lifts it up sharply. And as he does, the sand kind of pushes up, and the box crests the surface of the water and sits on top of this little mound of sand at the top. He's like, I mean, that might work. Maybe a combination of the two. And he starts moving his hands quickly in succession as the water starts splashing here and there, and sand starts shooting up here and there. And as he does, the box is getting bounced around, and it finally shoots up into the air and comes crashing down into the sand in the center and just breaks apart. And it's like, well, I mean, that might work. We can give that a go, yeah. We just gotta figure out a way to do it bigger. It might could be arranged. And he turns and walks back to the house quickly.
Salinger, Kebeth, and Peach. All please roll investigation checks for me, please. Got a 14, I got an 11. I got a 15. As you dig through the books, it's actually Peach who flips up to one of the pages. There's a picture, a sketch, it seems. It's a large, aggressive looking fish. Something you've never quite seen before. Certainly nothing that's been sold at market. Nothing you've served in the Wanderlust. Nothing on the walls in the Wanderlust.
Hey, Sal. Kebeth. Take a look at this.
What is it?
I don't know, looks huge and mean. Ever seen something like this?
I should hope not.
I mean, could this be our monster fish?
Maybe related. What's the book's title?
It's a. How do I describe it? It's written by a single author who, and glancing through it, seems to be trying to prove the existence of something that he saw as a child. There are sketches of this fish that has long, upward-facing lower fangs, for lack of a better term. It has long, swept-back fins. He describes it as being almost the same color as the water, almost impossible to see. He describes being attacked as a child, barely surviving. And feeling certain that this legendary fish is still there off the waters of southern coast.
Chris Wong, I've never wanted to read a fictional book more than I want to read this bestiary about this thing.
Yeah, also, I want to read this book. Yeah, Kebeth's like, well, if that's it, I don't want to eat it. I don't. Are we? We should show this to the others. See what they think.
Definitely. It doesn't look... the drawing doesn't look exactly the same, but I don't know if that's a reflection on the artistry of the illustrator or
His
on it
childhood
being a
memory.
slightly different thing. Yeah, or the memory, for sure.
I mean, when you're a kid, everything seems bigger and scarier. So maybe it's not that big and scary, and maybe they just remembered it that way, and then it's actually going to be a really nice fish.
Or maybe the one that Shalati managed to wrangle and kill is the baby, and there's a bigger, badder one out there under the water, invisible to the eye.
She described at least one bigger, badder one. Hopefully that's as big and as bad as it gets.
Agreed.
I
Before
sure hope they can't camouflage themselves.
before too long, you've gathered up all the things you find relevant. You've made your way to the Physiker to meet up, but Ava and Shalati aren't quite there yet. You linger for a moment before you see them coming down the road.
My great aunt is still very, very scary, and we have to bring the fish to her and also find some wine.
I'll help
I
carry
leave
the
one of you to
fish.
find it. Oh, sure.
I'll grab some wine from the cellar.
Does she? I don't know if she drinks it straight from the bottle, but she does kind of seem the type. Arty lady.
You know what? I think that, we've probably got more dishes than we actually need. Maybe it's a sign that I should bring a few goblets over.
Here, she hands back the silverware and tablecloth. If you're going that way.
Ava, what were you going to do with these things?
I don't know. Esmond just said to take the things we wanted, so I figured, might look nice, but now that I see it, probably not so much. Matches the decor in your place much better.
I assume I'm just gonna assume that the fish was stored in like the cellar of the Fisker or something of the sort.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there are imagined a refrigerator type situation, for certain to keep different plants that we might actually want to hold over to make certain things out of. So let's just picture that it has something like a walk-in freezer.
Cold cellar.
Yeah, there you go.
You guys live in a world of magic. There's something, with gears that pumps out a little hot air outside, and there's enchantments on it that keep it cold. And it should, someone would come by to repair the enchantments or keep the enchantments going every now and then, but you probably have at least a few months left on it while it works.
This is total aside. Ava goes around the back and just claps her hands at the kid on the hamster wheel. Come on, buddy, come on.
Keep going.
It's one of Cypher's little siblings.
Yeah. It's a world
Is
of
that my
magic.
favorite, deciphered to get their energy out for bedtime?
Yeah.
I guess she hauls open the door, leading Salander to it, and will just point to the thing which I think is probably just hung up on a meat hook of some kind in the gills.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's probably been pushed, but it was, it doesn't really matter. It's laid out on a table, it's hung up on a hook, it doesn't matter. We got to carry it back. Chris, do you want that NPC to be here just instead of fetching it, just to make things easier? Can we do that?
They're not currently in the room with you, but they can be at the
Okay.
building. It's fine.
Sure. Well, it may not be necessary, but originally, I didn't realize you guys were going to come here. Wait, why did you guys come here? Anyway,
I thought their plan was for them to meet you here, because I thought you were all going to be meeting here.
Oh, that's okay. No, I thought you guys were going to come after we were done, but if you guys want to participate, I was going to see if someone could take notes while I did the dissection. And I think Lily is available, so I was going to ask her, but maybe we don't have to ask her since you guys are here and one of you could do it, maybe.
Beth leans really close to Ava and is like, do you think we could cook it after?
I mean, maybe, yeah.
I mean,
It bleeds black, so I don't know how tasty it will be, especially since it's about a week old.
Yeah,
never
I'm
mind,
not
never
gonna
mind.
serve fished that.
Oh wait, I'm not here. Sorry, you can ignore that.
Are you at the Physiker or are you at the Forge?
You came back to Physiker, right?
Yeah.
I headed to the Physiker. You went to the Fisherman, so I didn't know if it.
We went to the fisherman and came back to the Physiker to grab the fish.
We're all at the Physicers getting the
Oh,
fish.
you hear
I thought we were all together.
knock on the door. Ray arrives. Were you?
Yeah. Oh, you're here. I wanted to help, but also I wanted to see your plant. She kind of walks past you and gives Wilson a snuggle.
No, he's not here. He stays at the house.
No.
Yeah, but you can come by, and Winslow is always there. I mean, it's fine. You can come by afterwards.
Winslow would brighten this place up.
He doesn't like leaving the house. He's really a homebody. I don't know if he's an agoraphobe, but he seems that way.
You can tell now?
No, it's just he just avoids people, it seems like. Or at least town. He doesn't leave the house. But I don't know if it's because he likes staying there or he doesn't want to be around people. Again, he doesn't talk, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Do you feel like maybe he's put down roots?
I think on that note, unless Sandra has something to say in the cellar, they return with the creature on Sandra's back, wrapped in probably Shalati's net again, since that's how she carried it. She's a little bit red, and otherwise quiet, and just points toward the fish.
Okay, I'll finish up. I'm gonna grab the rest of my tools, and actually, I can use that tablecloth.
I don't think Peach actually ran back to the Wanderlust yet, so...
Yeah, bring that with us.
Should I bring a table too, just in case?
Well, were there crates around there, Chris, we could use as sort of like a makeshift table, or just push them together? Okay. I think we'll be all right. We could just push some of the big crates together, and that should be stable enough. I mean, it's already dead, so it's not the hardest procedure I've ever done.
And we don't need to be stealing more furniture from the Wanderlust. I mean, we're still missing a bed and a footlocker, too.
Sal says, adjust the fish on his back.
All right. Well, I guess if we're ready, we can just head out. Oh, here's a notepad, and who wants to take notes? She looks at Araya and Peach and
I'm happy to. I spend a lot of time writing illuminated manuscript work.
Okay.
I'm fast.
I think Ava knows that Shalati's handwriting is terrible.
Okay. Well, she's also carrying a fish. She hands her Araya the stuff, and yeah, let's go over there and cut ourselves up a fish. I'm so excited.
All right. Before too long, getting the fish all tied up onto Salandra's back. Quite heavy, but not unbearable. You make your way through the streets back to the docks.
Okay, let's just push these two crates together here, and then we'll just put that tablecloth down right here, and then we'll go ahead and put the fish right on top. Perfect. Okay, perfect. And she starts to walk around a little bit, and she pulls up another small one to sort of unroll and have some tools set about, and has some more on her person. And she has her smock that she's putting on because she knows it's going to be a pretty messy affair. And she'll just wait for Shalati's older aunt lady.
Okay. So you've returned to the docks, all of you, with the big fish in tow. Akai, Shalati's great aunt, is there. Obviously knows that you approach, but barely really acknowledges you. For too long, you've set the big fish out on some nearby crates, and you're ready for the procedure. At this part of at these docks, you can smell the thick salt, the humidity from the sea. You can see the rolling waves out beyond the fjord. You can see the storm on the eastern horizon. Akai is still slowly working the nuts out from one of the nets. And, yeah, tell me about your beginning of this procedure and how you want to go about it.
Ava starts describing how is it Akai? Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Akai, she sort of has the scalpel and utensils, and she starts illustrating without making cuts sort of the approach she's going to take. And she's like, well, I don't know a lot about fishing, just the basics of it. But what I was going to do is cut along the top right here, right above the gills where the head would be, and sort of down the back of the spine to sort of flay it and try to remove most of the meat and leave the body underneath along with the organs mostly intact to sort of have a view from the outside, looking first at the digestive system and the internal tracts, maybe taking out its stomach, trying to get an idea of anything that it may have eaten. Lastly, a look sort of at the head, moving up to this eye area, removing it, and then cutting open the front of the face and peeling it back to sort of look towards at the nerves and the other endings at the front. And finally, getting inside a little bit deeper through all of the muscle to where its brain would be and trying to trace to see where most of the major nerves run towards to get an idea of where it might be, where its senses might be more substantial. Patrick has no idea if that's legit, but that's the best.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Kai is quiet for a moment longer, and she says, "Now, begin your cutting."
Okay. Let me see. I don't think I have anything that I wanted to do. Oh, yeah, I do. One last thing. She's going to ask Araya for a blessing first.
How do you?
She looks slightly shaken from, like, as you list off all of your, okay, in today's surgery, we're going to do horrifying things to this creature. And she's like, looks a little like,
What does Ava say to Araya?
She's about to start cutting and she pauses and goes, wait. To make certain that okay, we only have one specimen, so I want to try to be as thorough as possible with steady hands and guidance. If, Araya, I know that you can use the magic that you have to help guide people and comfort people and guide people. And if you have those things, if you think they'd be beneficial, like a blessing or something, I would...
yes, I would love for the maiden to guide your hand.
Don't say it like that, but okay, thank you.
I'll pray for you. She lays a hand. I wish for Ava all the wisdom from the maiden that she can provide in helping us dissect this once terrifying creature, and that she shall gain great insight. Guidance.
Okay. Oh, I meant bless.
No, guidance is the ability check.
You're right.
It's the ability. I'm not. No, you don't want. You're not attacking it.
You don't know
Watch,
that.
Chris is like, attack roll.
Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, and then she'll slowly begin the process, doing it a little bit at a time. She's deftly and is sort of very familiar with these tools, and obviously she's not worried about hurting this creature, but she only pauses at certain points that feel like natural points to sort of stop, to occasionally glance towards and look toward the elder to see if there's anything that, just giving her time to say something if she needs to, and then just continuing.
Mm-hmm. Roll medicine.
Can I assist at all?
You
Absolutely unnecessary.
I I think for this sort of circumstance, the guidance is something you would have to maintain anyway. So.
Okay, yeah.
Alright.
Ooh.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a 26 plus 3 for a 29. Yeah, you make careful, deft incisions with a sharp knife, cutting along the seam where sections of scales seem to meet, opening up the creature, removing portions of the thick, cold muscle, cutting around bone with care. After a moment, Kai sniffs the air, and then she sets down her net. Slowly stands up. Almost hear the creak of her bones. There's a click of her peg leg on the wooden dock. She takes a couple hunched steps over. Her eyes, just gray with cataracts, aren't looking at anything at all, but her spindly fingers reaches forward, just shoves her hands into the fish, and there's a wet sound as they go in. You hear she feels along the muscle, along the bone. She says, this fish is strong. And she runs her hands, now just wet and goopy, along the outside. The scales are hard. You won't have to throw your spear straight. A glancing blow will not do. Moves her fingers upward into the gills, and crack. She shoves them inside, breaking some of the cartilage there. She says, You can taste the water. It will know your blood. It will know if you are fearful, if you are unprepared. Reaches along, feels the teeth. This is a hunter. Eats the flesh. This is a dangerous animal. How do you come to have this?
I heard, or rather, there were reports of this ship that was supposed to come in before all this. And there, someone said that they spotted the wreckage offshore about half a day away. So the veteran sent me to go look for it. I found it there, but there was also an enormous sea creature that was making it as its home, much bigger than this. But it had alongside of it like parasites or the smaller creatures that work with bigger ones to provide it something and live next to it. Dozens, maybe hundreds, hopefully just dozens of these swimming alongside it.
If this
They
is so,
smelled. I bled a tiny bit very far away to see if they would come over, a few of them, and some of them smelt it from that far and came over, and that's how I got it.
if this is so, then the large one, it is wasteful. It leaves meat behind for these to eat.
Did I see the big one have teeth?
Not that were visible.
Okay. It never opened a mouth or anything.
You never really got that close to it. You were seeing silhouette from
It was so big, I find it hard to imagine it would tear apart its prey. I would think it would just eat things whole.
Are you saying that I do not know my fish?
No, of course not. I'm sorry, Griggerton. I'm just thinking perhaps maybe it is not. But maybe it does not eat the same things as these things?
Perhaps. I have not seen this fish before in these waters. It is new. It has come from somewhere else. Perhaps because it is cold.
I mean, maybe when you cut into its stomach, you can see what it eats, and then you'll know.
Wait, ma'am, you said something about being cold.
Do not interrupt the satyr, she is right. Cut open the stomach.
All right. She dutifully does.
The remains of local fish come kind of pouring out. Along with, well, let me have everyone who's present roll a nature check.
Can I get advantage for having been a fisher?
Not on this.
Okay.
Oh, no. No. Roll with advantage, actually. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Some of this you quickly pick out as being human remains. But some of it you see like the head of a fish. No, not the. You see like a big chunk of flesh with some skin attached, and it's also something you've never seen before. Nothing local.
Question for clarification. You said human. Do you mean human or just like not fish?
Yeah, not specifically human. Yeah, humanoid, I should say. Yeah, good question.
Just checking. Humans are rare here.
It's true.
It's a very specific rarefied taste.
Exclusive.
Really, Shalati was fine.
That's human. That's... I don't know exactly what kind of fish that is. She looks at the others, but this, I don't... Does anyone know what that is?
Again, I ask, human?
Oh,
You said human. You said it's human.
Sorry, that's
we need to
true.
avoid that term unless we mean
humanoid.
Wow, the meta-human erasure happening here.
This is humanoid.
I
Maybe...
imagine it's like a damn arm.
Human light.
Yeah, it's like that scene from Jurassic Park when Samuel Jackson's arm goes over. It's the same thing.
Wait, are you saying it ate people?
At least a person.
Well, that boat did go down in those waters.
I wonder if... It was kind of far away. Did I get was I able to see if what it looks like it had chunks bitten out of it or just crashed?
Not really a way to tell that.
I mean, possible. It is possible that maybe that big fish is the one that sunk the ship. I could not get close enough to really tell why it was down.
I got lots of books about monsters sinking ships and things. I mean, maybe.
Akai pulls her hands out kind of from the fish and splats goo down on the table. She says, humanoid. Maybe you are yontioid. She turns and heads back towards the crates.
You know, she has a point. It is very strange that people with mostly 2 legs don't get called humanoids. And there's not very many of them. Sorry, you.
No, but
I mean,
they're
you're kind.
prolific. There's so many folks who are half human, you know? I mean, you don't get half anybody else.
Well, historically speaking, that has to do with global subjugation across several continents, and um, we don't want to dig too deep into that, I don't think. But Kabeth, you ought to share that book with the illustration to cross-reference to see if anything was accurate from it compared to what we're seeing here.
Oh yeah,
With a-
right. You found something?
With a flourish, she flips open one of her pouch pockets and pulls out a book. It says, "Look at this." And she flips the page and holds up and says, "What do you think?" I think it kind of maybe, yeah. Huh?
Does it look
I mean,
anything like the big one?
It
Peach found it, not me.
It doesn't look like the big one. It kind of looks like the thing you're looking at, but the fangs are going in the wrong direction. The saber-toothed tiger shark, they go down, but this one they go up. The top fin's smaller and the bottom fin's bigger. So, I mean, it's close, but it's like,
I mean, it's worth noting that the person who wrote this book was writing about something horrible that they saw as a child, and so it maybe, artistic interpretation, memories is a little funny. What do you think?
Also, I mean, maybe you saw it upside down.
If he was swimming from above and then they saw it below it, maybe that would, the fish rotated. I don't know.
Or he saw it in a mirror. Does it have any characteristics like really? I guess I'll ask out of character. Does it have any very distinguished, a particularly distinguishing characteristic of any kind? Like, I think you'd said something about its color or something, like being hard to discern, maybe.
there's mention of that in the drawings, but it's just like ink sketches in the book. But a thing that is very distinct is that the fish that you have here on the table has elongated front fangs that go downward. This one also has elongated fangs. They just go upward, and you haven't seen that before in any kind of fish that you've seen. Looking at the book again, kind of glancing through, reading, the author is describing finding a lake and at the bottom of the Gulf, like the place where he was swimming as a child. He found a lake underwater, and that's when he encountered this thing.
Where did he encounter this thing? She asked to everyone and the DM.
Yeah, glancing through. You don't know the name of the town, but from context clues, it's in like the southern coast of the continent.
What's the climate down there like? Is it colder?
Well, it would just be the inverse. It's kind of the inverse of where you are now, so there'd be seasonal. It'd be the reverse season, but similar temperate climate actually.
Just thinking, she had said something about maybe the cold or the changes and brought these fish here. So if this fish was from colder waters and migrated here, that would make sense.
Wait, a lake underwater. Chris, what do the portals look like?
The portals look like tears, like if you took a piece of broken mirror and you just were hanging it in the air. It kind of looks like that, and they're kind of burning at the edges, like paper that's burning inward.
Do you think? I mean, this would not have been now, but like, I don't know. What if it was like another world? Fish came through a portal under the water, and then the kid saw the thing from above, and then it looked like another water underneath the water, but it was really just an illusion of magic. I don't know.
What if they're unrelated? And this is just a newcomer, entirely new newcomer.
Or maybe they saw a really shiny rock.
Akai says, there are many secrets in the sea. It keeps many things from the land. Go deep enough, you'll find things you will not find here.
Well, that's extremely disconcerting. Is there anything about what you uncovered here, any organs, any toxins would make this thing consumable versus poisonous? Like a blowfish versus a flounder.
She runs her hands along the fangs, sticks her whole arm into the mouth. I do not find the venom snacks like you do on some. I do not think that this will envenomate you.
Well, food source. Salad's in like a big gulp as looking at this thing has been getting more challenging as time's gone on.
So we can do something else with this all. We can use it as fertilizer and get more sweet potatoes from it. I think that might be a better use of this fish than trying to make fillet out of this autopsy.
Whatever you guys want to do with the carcass. I think I'm about done. Patrick thinks the autopsy is about done. Is there anything else to... Okay.
Yeah, Makai takes one of the big fillets that you cut and sniffs it. This one is mine.
I think Shalati has already tried to sneak one out and put it toward her mouth to have a taste.
Beth eyes both of them. It's like, well, if they're gonna try it.
Not raw. There could be parasites in it. You can't eat raw meat.
It's probably mostly frozen now, I would hope.
You've got to sear it.
Or at least doesn't smell like like death. But yeah, Shalati's still gonna take a taste to see if it seems edible for general consumption.
Beth's watching you very intensely.
Oh, as she's about to do this, hearing Peach's concern, Ava will just sort of close her eyes and concentrate for a second, and she'll check it. For, I don't know if parasites count, but I'll put the ability in there.
What does it?
I would say, like most of hers, there seems to be internal constellations with energy and sort of power that sort of concentrates in different areas. And so the different parts around joints and different maybe vital places sort of illuminate slightly, and then they sort of draw and channel together and sort of move towards the front, in this case around her head, and sort of emanate out a little bit, so from all of her senses. Just the slightest and faintest of lights. You'd have to it'd be easy to miss, perhaps.
Yeah, I think, we'll include that for this purpose.
Okay.
What I would say is this. More than likely, in our medieval fantasy setting here, there's all kinds of parasites you're already adapted to. It's fine. This fish is no different. However, your medicinal nature knowledge, well, if this is from a different region, maybe you would get sick if you ate this without cooking it.
Okay. She holds up, opens her eyes for a second, and sort of holds her hand on top of the hand moving towards Shalati's mouth. He goes, "Wait, Peach might be right. I mean, just to be safe, maybe we should cook it. It is not from around here, and whether that means it is from a different part of the ocean, or from," she waves towards Kebeth, like a different world entirely. Better safe than sorry. Besides,
Akai kind of says as she's walking back to her bench, "Cowards, the worms will pass."
That's why she lives alone.
Well, after you saying that, I wonder what kind of... Hope we catch whole new colds and flus from the different animals coming in through here. Now I'm worried about Poppy. She needs a checkup.
All right.
Hey, I think that cooking cures a lot of ills. So as long as we get a nice sear on these steaks, they should be edible if we don't want to go the fertilizer route.
Beth looks very happy. I'll get my finest frying pan.
Well, you've gained 300 pounds of saber-toothed tiger meat.
Oh, no.
No, let's see if it actually tastes
Holy
any good.
I was gonna say, is it delicious?
Wait. 300 pounds is the meat we took from it. One of the small ones. Holy shit, the big one is huge.
Can't wait to see what kind of armor we can make from it.
We can do like a whole like big fish fry and like feed the whole town.
Next
fry
battle,
some of it too, or salt can.
we'll just all roll up in armor and weapons made of Aranakis and giant fish.
Yes.
I think Casey comes up at the tail end of this. Doc. Hey, Doc, how's it going?
Hey, Casey. Oh my god. You're referring to the where we are, aren't you?
I don't. What? He turns and sees Akai. Just, hey, Akai, how are you, darling?
Oh,
How's the leg?
hello, Casey. What have you brought me today?
Well, and he reaches in his pocket and pulls out a handful of various, the little pouch that's buzzing. He reaches in there and pulls out various nuts and berries that he's foraged from around town.
Let me wash my hands.
Salty is just going to audibly scoff and then will get busy gathering up the fish again. The shark.
Yeah.
It's going to stalk off toward the Wanderlust.
Casey smiles at Akai and turns back to Doc and looks at the fish all cut up and everything. And yeah, looks like you're about done, huh? Got your fill, eh?
She's taking off her gloves in an angry fashion.
After a moment, Akaya's washed and cleaned her hands off, and she kind of reaches over and picks up all the things you've brought, and she says, this is good. You have balanced the scales.
So, yeah, Casey smiles at Akai and nods and turns to Doc and says, so, what's the word? We're still going in after the boat?
Maybe. This didn't really help with strategy. We just sort of know a lot more about some of its physiology and some of the capabilities of the fish. You know, they're dangerous, attracted to blood. They can seem to smell things underwater. They're strong,
I
they're fast.
disagree about not changing strategy. Clearly, all this means we're not sending Araya in by herself.
Oh, well, yeah, I didn't mean not changing it that way. I just meant it didn't give us an answer, I don't.
She was never going to go in alone anyway.
Kibeth looks at Casey and goes, big fish is bad. Real scary.
I'm working on moving the boat out. Doc, you can move dirt too, yeah?
Well, a little bit. What do you think?
Well, if we can move enough dirt, it doesn't have to be a sunk boat anymore.
Want to put the loose sediment beneath the boat and just till it raises it up?
I mean, it might be worth a try.
Charlotte, you hearing this, you remember, the ship's kind of like, the wreckage just kind of impaled on, like, rocks.
She has been moving away but
Oh, yeah.
with the thing. But she might call over her shoulder and say, "That's a stupid idea because it is trapped on the rock."
Second dumbest thing I've heard today.
What
What was the first?
Ava just like smiles a little bit and shakes her head. No, seriously, I don't. Maybe that I didn't know that. I was just saying that, Casey. Maybe it was a good idea. I had no way of knowing.
I mean, if it works, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It's wonderful seeing you, Akai, darling.
Come here. My hands are cold.
Yeah. Casey goes over and gives her a kiss on each cheek and an embrace.
She puts her hands on either side of your face and says, Warren is a good boy.
Don't let this lot bother you too much, yeah?
They owe me wine.
Well, I'll come by later then.
Wait, I thought we brought the wine and several goblets for her.
No, I didn't. I never ran back to the Wanderlust. We kept the tablecloth instead.
And she pats you on the cheek and says, don't forget, which will be your doom. She walks back to her seat.
Yeah, Casey will smile and say, they're good for it, I'm sure. And he'll turn to walk off.
Is that the second time he's like promised to pay someone back by someone else doing the thing instead?
Mm-hmm.
What? Just has pizza.
Yeah. I'm hungry now.
I'm sorry.
Pass it through the screen.
I got a really good one, but they still put too much cheese on it.
I've never
No
had that
such thing.
I think Araya should take on the culture of any food that you're eating currently. So now Araya is Italian.
So most of the time she's just Japanese then. All right.
That could lead to some
Fair.
interesting mixes. Like,
Fair.
what if Jess has a Hawaiian pizza?
Oh, it's like a blue mage, but for cultures. Esmond.
I'm here.
Those are noises. You hear Gwen in the workshop. You hear a couple of cogs dink, dink, hit the ground, kind of go rolling.
Stop at the door for a brief moment. I mean, it can't be that. It's gotta be nothing, I'm sure. What? Why am I freaking out? Okay. He pushes through the door. Hey, Mom, you here?
You hear a call from the back. Yes. Hey, yes, come here.
I'll walk over. Everything good? You all right?
Yeah, I think I had an idea how to make, we can make an improvement to the front gate, the southern gate of the town. And I think if we do it this way, the gears will last longer.
Quickly look over the blueprints that she's come up with. Yeah, I could see that. These particular cogs might need additional support, though. Otherwise, they're going to be bearing the brunt of the weight, and I don't know if they'll be able to handle that strain over an extended period of time.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's a good idea.
Hey, could we talk for a minute?
Yeah. What's on your mind? You doing okay?
Yeah, I just Esmond goes and pulls one of the stools over for her to sit on, and he kind of leans against one of the workbenches. Yeah, I wanted to ask you something real fast. Well, two things, I guess. We haven't we haven't really sat down and talked a whole lot after the village was attacked. I just there's a couple things I wanted to talk to you about Dad.
Oh, her face kind of drops a little bit. What, Hey, yeah, what's on your mind?
It well, I a little bit after everything that happened, I was going through his things, and I found, and he starts digging through one of the drawers of the workbench that he's leaning against, and he pulls out a black key.
That is honestly.
I found this, and I haven't been able to find what it goes to. I want to ask if you knew anything about that.
She looks at it. Her eyes widen a little bit. She hesitates. And she kind of starts to fidget. Looks down. Oh, where'd you find that?
It was just kind of buried in some of Dad's belongings. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't. It was just. I just found it underneath a couple of his things, some old journals, some of his clothes. I was just going through stuff trying to clean up, and I came across it, and I just wanted to. Why do you look like that? What's wrong?
Oh, I hadn't seen that in a long time. That's old. Yeah. I don't think it's any use.
Well, what did it go to? I mean, we don't have to use it, obviously. I was just curious if it went to anything, or if whatever it did, whatever it did go
it's
to.
just something from. It's probably just from something. It's from something a long time ago. I mean, I don't. But it's. I mean, I don't. I mean, it's not useful. It's just old. It doesn't matter.
How old, Mom?
She kind of looks to you the way that you're looking at her, and
you and Dad always told me that you guys didn't ever leave the village. That you guys didn't have much experience. I mean, you told me and the twins that all the time, but so why do you know about supplies at the tower?
What?
Outside of town.
Her face kind of shifts a little bit, and she says, Where did you hear that?
Does this key have something to do with that tower?
Her shoulders kind of droop a little bit. Oh. 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 She kind of shifts on her where she's standing on her stool and sits on the table and. Oh yes. Oh yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry about what? I'm not understanding.
No, I told. Yeah, I told you. Are you upset with me?
No, I'm not upset. I mean, I don't enjoy. Well, I don't like being lied to, but I mean.
I didn't mean to lie to you, Ez.
Well, that's fine. I'm not trying to accuse you of anything. What are you holding back from me?
She kind of just looks at her hands. She's fidgeting. She looks so uncomfortable. She seems to slowly start to relax. Oh, yes. I mean, we didn't lie when we said we hadn't left the town. We just hadn't left since we got here. But we weren't from here.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, people migrate all the time, so where are you from then?
Is there some stuff? If I tell you, I can't untell you.
At some point in the near future, we're going to be heading in that direction. We're talking about exploring the area surrounding that tower to look for any survivors.
Her eyes kind of get wide, and she's like searching her face. Yes, I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea.
Why not? Mom? Why not?
Yeah.
And tears start to well up in the bottom of her eyes, and she says, "Yes, I don't want you to go there."
I mean, if we go, we go. It's kind of a group decision, and I'm not going to not help my friends. It's. I mean, I've spent the past 6 months trying to get myself into a better place. I've been training and studying so I can be more effective than when I was when the village was attacked. If we go to the tower, I'm going with them.
That's where we found you. She kind of shudders and tear kind of rolls down her cheek.
What her ears folded down a little bit. You guys. Wait, no, you told me I was found outside the Wanderlust one night, and that you and Dad took me in.
this? I don't... Isn't that better?
Better than what? I don't understand what's so bad about the tower that you would feel the need to hide this from me.
Wait, who else knows?
Who else knows about what? The tower? I mean, my group and the verdict.
No. What did you tell him?
Mom, what's the issue? I don't understand.
Esmond, what did you tell him?
I didn't tell him anything. It was pointed out on one of the maps when we were discussing plans on heading towards Muirwood.
You see her thinking. You see the expression on her face when she's doing complicated calculations.
Mom, what?
Esmond, you cannot tell the verdict what I just told you. Do you understand?
I can't tell him that I come from the tower?
No.
I'm not.
She kind of stands up on the table and she reaches out and takes your hands. Her ears kind of have gone back to normal. She's looking at your eyes. She says, listen to me. We love you very much. The only thing we've ever wanted to do is keep you safe. You have to make sure the verdict does not associate you with that tower in any way.
Oh, okay, but just, can you tell me why?
That is why we found you. We rescued you when things were bad. Your father and I. We were there when the verdicts came. There were bad things happening there, and I don't want anyone to think that you would ever be associated with anything like that.
I'm trying to follow, but I don't understand why you, having found me as a baby, would in any way associate me with whatever happened at that tower.
You are being kept there by someone bad.
What?
You are being kept there by someone bad. No. This is a weird joke. Esmond, you cannot look at me. You cannot let the verdict know. And if he knows, we have to leave. You and me.
I won't ever let anything happen to you, Mom. If the verdict does anything to harm you,
You haven't seen what they will do. You don't know what kind of people they are.
This man, that kept me. there? What was his name?
She kind of swallows and some eyes run down her face. He was the chronomancer.
Immediate run through my memory banks. DM, do I recognize the term chronomancer?
You've never heard that before? He did bad things. Terrible things. And they came and destroyed him. And all of his work. And they would have destroyed me and your father. But we got away with you.
This is
Yeah, she kind of sinks a little bit and she says, yes, I'm sorry, I didn't want you to ever, you're too young to know these things. I didn't want you to ever know these things.
Okay, okay, I need to leave. Esmond starts walking towards the door and just kind of pushes away out into open air.
You push out from the workshop, throw the doors open out into the light snow coming down. Chill air hits your face.
Quickly, or just looking back over his shoulder, Esmond just kind of quietly calls back out to Gwen. Is he still alive?
They killed him. They killed everyone that was there. They would have killed us.
I gotta leave. I have to go for. I have to go, Mom. I'll be back later. Proceed to just walk off.
As you walk into the snow, you hear the sound of your mother crying behind you. And that's where we'll end for tonight.
Gwen left that part out. She implied that they were let go.
She also asked you to keep it a secret. I'm just saying.
I didn't say that he was from the tower. I said that she told us that there were supplies at the tower.
Gasp.
Pris, I can't believe you're still awake.
Oh my god, yeah.
Surprisingly, I mean, I did sleep for like 14 hours and woke up at 2 p.m. yesterday.
Good job.
Yeah, you're probably still on California time, eh?
Well, for Californian time, I was usually up until like 3 or 4 a.m. anyway, so...
So opposite time.
Yeah, I don't know. My schedule's just fucked all around, so who knows what it'll end up settling into. That said, I also motion that from now on, we end every session with something traumatic and or dramatic happening to Esmond, because this is like 2 out of 2 weeks.
It's torturous. I'm sorry.
3 weeks.
I got excited that it was at the tower. The tower is on the map, and then I was like, "Oh, I kind of wanna. Oh, I gotta dance around."
I think
good.
it's,
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Screw the boat. We don't need to go there. Just let's go to the tower.
I have 2 small stingers for you. Little stingers.
Sting us.
Some hours later. Charlotte, please make a Constitution saving throw.
Did I
You
bite into
ate
it?
it.
Did she eat it?
Yeah,
I
a
don't
little bit, just a little bit.
Okay, yeah. Is this poison? Because I have resistance.
It's not poison.
The worms are not poison.
That is a 13 plus 1 for 14.
Oh no, that +1 does not do anything, but it's 13.
Okay, 13. There's a little bit of a tummy gurgle, but you're okay.
The worms will pass.
Oh wait, the next singer's for Araya, but we'll wait. He's talking to Gwen.
I don't recommend that.
Gwen gets stabby when she's betrayed.
No, I just mean the size ratio. She's talking to Gwen.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've been like catching up on watching anime as just a general thing, and now I feel like I understand aspects of this game so much better. Like,
Oh.
Ez, you're the protagonist. You're the guy we're following right now. We get to watch your character growth. It's so cute.
That's why he has chemistry with every other character.
Yes,
Plus, also he gets the most
exactly.
trauma dumped on him.
Yes.
We are definitely hitting some as storyline moments. Everyone's the protagonist. Indeed.
Oh, it's not
Just at different times.
This is just an Ez story arc currently.
Sometimes we're the antagonist.
I'm just screaming in my head right now.
Sometimes we're just the tag-alongest.
Sometimes we become the antagonist after we stop playing that character.
Only after.
Who?
That's debatable.
Touche.
By the way, Isaac, that is genius to have Casey. Feels like such a real character to me, after his interactions with the great aunt, and just the nails on a chalkboard sensation that Shalati must be experiencing when he goes up there schmoozing up and just like on a almost first name basis with her, like, what's up?
Hey girl, what's going
100%.
on?
I didn't warn Chris. He just seamlessly righted.
He knew.
So good.
You guys were on the same wavelength. You're like, we know what this relationship would be. What would drive her crazy?
Gang, I hope we can get to Mirrorwood soon. I'm so excited to meet new NPCs. I'm so excited.
They'll find new ways to traumatize you.
Yeah, this is true.
Mirrorwoods or like recordings of deep truths and or automatons with the old chronomancer's memory still stuck in them.
You guys just find cassette tapes.
I was wondering if it was going to turn out that Ez was actually like a very complicated automaton.
Or like just
Chronomancer had made like some kind of clockwork boy, but then found that tech further along in the timeline and is actually like a Westworld.
I'm taking
that
But
last name.
his fingers
too.
got blown off.
yeah.
I do bleed a lot.
I mean,
I
the
have.
Westworld robots bleed. I'm saying he could still be artificial boy.
Nanobots.
Nanobots, son.
Jess, are you available for a vignette or are you occupied?
I can. You'll hear a small baby voice.
It's okay. It'll be the super short one. Some hours later. Where's Araya? What's she doing?
After the dissection, and she took notes and passed them off, and she maybe is like, if it's at like after sundown, she's like returned back to like maybe heading back to like the Wanderlust from the Physiker.
We're having a fish fry.
Yeah, I think at some point back at the Wanderlust, you're in your small rooms that seem to become the place where you live now, and at some point you're going through your pack.
Hold on, I can't hear.
Oh no! Did your cord get pulled? Sabotaged.
Mischief, baby.
I can't hear you. Nope, can't hear you.
Jess, you're lighting up, but we can't actually hear you.
We'll do this many at a different time.
I'm sorry.
Oh
Yep.
wait, you're back.
Oh,
Okay. So,
she like sabotaged my whole setup when she left the chair.
yep. You are going through your pack and digging around. Wait, that's not supposed to be there. You find at the bottom of your pack Casey's lighter.
She has like from the pack, she pulls it out and sets the lighter, a very noticeably not her
On
thing.
here.
And
And there's a chicken running around in the background. A blue chicken.
I like to think that chickens of this world are like parrots, and so they can repeat words that they hear.
All right.
We'll never know.
What do you do?
Hi, Deirdre.
Hello. Hello.
Howdy dowdy.
Hello, Deirdre.
But she puts the item amongst all the rest of the stolen items that she has yet to find a way to return to their homes in secret.
Oh, I was suggesting, I think you were away at that time during the bathroom break, that there be a holiday in Lux for making amends and, bearing secrets, etc., making a clean start of things.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good one.
Amnesty Day.
Hatchet Day.
Excellent session, everyone. And only a little sushi was consumed.
Slightly treacherous sushi.
All sushi is slightly treacherous if you really think about it.
A tiny sashimi.
I'm glad that Peach's food prep knowledge came into play.
We're level 5 now, aren't we?
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
I have to make decisions.
What all did we get at level 5?
Some of us get a ton of stuff.
Everything.
Yeah.
Depends on what you
Some of
choose.
us don't. Although, actually, a couple of sessions ago makes it very easy for me to decide what to do next.
It's frustrating because I get a ton of stuff with one level, but I don't get a ton of stuff with another level, and I don't know which I want to go with.
Tough choices.
Everyone just take your best ocean-related skills.